Monday, August 18th, calling the select board meeting to order. First item up is additions or adjustments to the agenda. And I have two. One is authorizing a signatory for the Percy contract. We awarded the contractor signature authority to move forward, and the other is reauthorization for FEMA buyout signature. What else we got?
So that's so far.
Peter, Paul?
Yes, and like that discussion of power coming into Johnson. First meeting, you were thrilled, really. There you go. I was coming back to you. Sorry, but I love it. With respect to the Thursday night.
Realize that we don't own any electric utilities.
Just quick discussion.
Electric power. Mike, do you have anything?
Where do you want to sit? Yeah, to say what county those is.
Towards the end, you're okay with that? All right, Tom. Nothing. In notes. Okay. Hearing no other. Invoices and orders are headed from right now. Public comment, is there any comment from the public? Who else goes first?
I just wanted to mention that some people have mentioned me about the racket bowling on the side of the road. That's road that is running through the not seeing the hill sign, it's just by the hill. And when you stupid the time, covered in some places, so you know, they have an excuse to keep going too fast. So I just thought I mentioned it.
Thank you, Lois. I believe we have a mower on then. It's a little bit delayed this year because of man hours organization. But it is planned in 6 weeks. But thank you.
And I thought that was the case, but I still bring it.
Charles?
I just wanted to know if you can tell me what's going on with the low lecture hall. Any guys on that? Is trying to buy it or?
I believe that we are in real estate negotiations before anything is accepted. It would need to be made public.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because about several months ago, Dr. Johnson was approached by the studio center to actually buy it, which blew our minds. And at that time, they said there was $1.9 million of work that had to go to the foundation of that building to get it to the point that it would meet their standards for use. And then
I don't even had a conversation with you. My office to talk that. Right, yeah. Right, so that's why.
didn't notice you there.
That's what we're. Yeah, I was very cheap, comes to my office.
Right, and
We were interested in for maybe being a welcome center. So our so go with everything else, but that's for our standards, for
you said.
which is part of our challenge, because of our value that we need and the standards that we have for our buildings, accessibility, et cetera.
Okay.
So just keep it right about that.
Okay, so I mean, my concern is that the town is losing tax base. I'm just wondering, in regards to what this is gonna cost if they end up taking it on.
Yeah, it's not good.
You can say what you want. I don't want to give up anything that was discussed in the executive session. We had a resident at our last meeting expressing concerns and wishing that we would have public meeting or a special town meeting before decisions were made, and I believe the board said they would take those comments into consideration. Did not bind themselves to it. I hope I'm giving enough information without giving too much. And maybe after tonight, there'll be more information up there.
Okay, I do the, this is best of my concern, you know, the loss of our mat base and not wanting to possibly take on something that. I really think will hurt us as far as costs. Maybe if it works out, then great. That's just my concern. Okay, sorry about that, all.
Thank you, Charles.
All right, that's all I want.
Any other public comment? Not seeing any, select board issues or concerns and updates. Are there any updates or issues or concerns from the select board?
I'll have one for the Recreation Committee. I've been having a hard time trying to find more members. We only have 4 members right now. So I just wanted to put out a call here if anyone's interested in joining. We meet the 3rd Tuesday of the month. So happy to have any new members. Yeah.
Thank you. Peter?
Second final for the season, Tuesday Night Live, last week was fantastic. And a lot of hard work by a very small group of people I'm learning.
Very dedicated, hardworking, small group of people.
And it seems to be putting Johnson on the map.
We should have it pop up. Different location every time. Hopefully that doesn't make minutes, because I'll never hear the end of that one. Plan purchases, Jason had mentioned a well, but I don't see it in the packet. Is that gonna be in our next meeting?
Just called me tonight, talked about it, and the reason I didn't put it on as an addition is I haven't looked at the budget yet, to make sure that it. Is it this year for it or not?
Yes, it is, and we budgeted,
$5,000.
$5,017.13.
And I think it's at 4,100. So if the board's going to take it on tonight, authorize it to buy it. Sounds like we're good, but I hadn't had a chance to look at that.
How would the board like to handle that?
Sorry, you said the item, once again?
That's a welder.
Well, is there anything on here?
No, nothing in the packet, like we could either take it up in 2 weeks or we could authorize. Expenditure up to a budgeted amount, because it sounds like it covers it.
Yeah, it's part of it's coming out of the capital equipment fund, so it was approved in the fall to spend up to $5,000, but. And it's the quote that he got is less than that. But
How much is it?
it's 4,100.
Good. They don't get welders or whatever they want, do they? But they go plated.
It's not.
Platinum, actually. Diamond accents. Does the board want to take it up in 2 weeks or?
Yeah, so we get a better price of almost $5,000 for a welder.
That typical price?
Yeah, I mean, for a good miller.
I don't care if it's in the budget or not.
Sure. Well, if it's urgent.
That I'm assuming 2 quotes that.
So any time sensitivity to this purchase, is that okay?
I don't know. They have one right now. It's a replacement, but probably can hold off for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Good with that. Next up, committee update. Dick Stevens is here with the Historical Society. Thank you for coming. And we have his reports. And there are 2 other items I need to report as well. To cover. One is the electrical issue and the other is the Holcomb House fire extinguishers. But given the fact that we have a lot of ground to cover, is there anything you would like to add to your report, Dick? Or does the board have any questions?
Not specifically, and as far as the electrical issue, I don't have any knowledge of it. Yeah, I know where that's going.
We got the second quote today. Our insurance company got the first quote from local electric, 802 Electric. We had an appraiser come out to do an assessment of the damage. they didn't have knowledge of local codes. So the insurance company then got back to me and said, we need to formalize a second quote, and that came in this morning. I think I forwarded it to you. They're within $3,000, so it sounds like it's pretty accurate, 40 and 43, I believe. They're both in the packet. So right now we're waiting for a formal, we need a response from the insurance company to see what portion, I'm assuming, based on preliminary conversations, they'll likely approve all of it because you have to bring it up to codes and standards. Because of the lightning strike, and when that happens, and they'll probably, because both are time and material estimates are not normal final hard numbers, because rewiring that knob and tube, and there's a lot of research involved about where it actually is and isn't hidden in the walls. That they'll probably have a stop sign, so they'll approve up to 40,000, and then we'll have to go back to the insurance company with a firm number to finish. But maybe it might be under, and then we don't have to go back to the insurance company, but the process at this point is we're still waiting for final approval on the net loss.
I had some problems with it, relief from the shut off notice.
I have not heard any pressure from the village to do it. I think that they are very aware of our timeline and that we are doing everything we actively can. Both electricians did say they could put in a temporary ground to make it more safe, according to help the village out. But they have not pressured that timeline. So I think at this point they're allowing us to move forward with the process we're in.
Okay.
So I'm not hearing any questions on the report. Sounds like we're on to the electrical. How do we handle that? Are we waiting 2 weeks to hear back from our insurance company? Or was the request to approve up to a dollar amount?
I think at this point, if we can wait with no act, you probably have no. Once the loss is approved, whatever portion of the loss is approved, we only have $1,000 deductible. That's within the procurement policy. I'll just give you guys an update when that happens. And then we can just do another update at the next meeting. If there is a cost more than 1,000, it'll probably come up at the next meeting. But at this time, I don't think we're anticipating any cost greater than that.
That could, if there is a cost greater than that, maybe it could come out of the buildings and grounds reserve fund. We have
we have 7,500 for building meetings, so I think there's plenty in the budget.
I'm talking if it's exorbitant now or something.
I think then a conversation with the historical society in the town to just figure out the best path moving forward for their future uses, and then also for the town to make sure the town's got what it needs as well. Okay.
So we're really choosing a contractor.
Yeah, we have to wait for the insurance company. They're going to give us an amount not to exceed, and then based on their appraisal, if their appraisal is higher than the highest one, then we'll have a choice. But say it comes in lower, then we should probably take the lowest bid to incur the least amount.
And for full disclosure to the board, one of the bidding contractors is my brother-in-law. I don't have any questions on the work or the quotes, just the process. That's it. And I will be using myself in the selection. Anything else on electrical? I guess we're gonna see it hopefully in 2 weeks, so that it's not way out there. I know this has come up a lot since I've been on the board. Structural issues and replacing roof. I don't know if we have enough time this summer, but we probably should get together an RFP.
Yeah.
Yeah, little items are just, but I don't remember how many I listed, 3 or that's part of the larger list people already have.
We received it a few times, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually the problem is funds, not willingness to support, I'll tell you that. So, where I think it would be helpful for next year's board is if we could get together an RFP and get an idea how much it would cost and budget appropriately for next year. Because I feel like since I've been on the board, we've run into this cycle. We don't have enough money, we need the budget, we don't have enough money, we need the budget, we don't have enough money, we need the budget. And quite frankly, I don't know what money we need, and budget season's coming up in 3 months, and if we at least had some frame of mind, we could carry $50,000, I don't have a clue what it is.
There's a difficulty being, it's hard to find someone who's gonna look at it, you know, what's happening.
We did, there was a plan, this is kind of small bites at a time, and not to exceed that $7,500 about the service. And this year, the intention to doing a few pieces of work, but we couldn't get a contractor to commit. And so I think Evan, you're probably right that maybe we should just formalize an RFP even for the small bites, and then we can get more of a commitment. It's really helpful. Maybe that might be the best path forward.
We're gonna have to keep that on the list. Tom's list isn't getting shorter, but if the board supports it, we can get something.
Yep.
Mike, you asked for the fire extinguisher item, what's that about?
Well, the whole of now, Lewis State Town has said, building, I mean. The town has a contract with fire extinguishers in all its buildings, and for some reason, the Peckham House or Historical Society, has been neglected, and I think that it just should be added on to our contract we have for all of our town buildings. So it's the proper amount of fire extinguishers in there, upgraded in the time of man.
And that could probably be done.
Do we need that as a motion?
Is it under $3,000?
Doesn't make any difference. It's a town asset. It should be put out of.
It's making, make a motion.
I make a motion that we put fire extinguishers in the open house under the town contract for all the fire extinguishers that we bring out.
Second. Oh, you're getting chased for a third right there. Further discussion. How many are in that?
3 weeks left. No, there's only one, that is questionable. Two, there's 2. One of them, the last date on the pay, it was on 1974. I don't know if that's going very good. It's gonna have at least 2.
It's a historic.
Yeah. That's a, well, no, I mean, I think the bill needs and they'll put the proper amount in there.
Understood.
Let's stay with that old one.
There's no further discussion, I'm gonna call it. All those in favor of that motion, signify by saying aye. All those opposed? And the ayes have it. Mary Jean, you came in late, anything you want to add to the report?
So,
Kelly? Here for the library?
we are, I'm just here.
Okay.
We are having a railing put in, Joe Louise, I've done all the, we are all set and he's gonna donate his time, put it in stuff, so. It's gonna go on the other side of fire department one,
We're not a fire marshal list.
yes. That was horrendous.
I'm very close.
Okay. Do you handle the fire extinguisher contract?
I reached out to, well, I talked to Lydia on the phone, or in the office today, also on the phone with Mike, and it's just a quick phone call that she'll add it on to our current contract with all town properties. So, it's pretty.
As long as it doesn't get dropped, whoever handles it handles it.
Also, well.
Okay. Who would the board like next for a future committee? Thank you all for the hard work that you do.
Yeah.
I mentioned that I was just here, but I think it'd be nice to hear from them to see like what the pros and cons were of having it at Old Mill Park. Maybe that just like leaving it a question and nothing else they have to report on.
Realistically, we probably only have 3 more reports before into the budget enough where we try to say that. How many committees have we not seen?
Yes, and Brent system. Is that ready?
Yeah, we could.
What committees have we not seen?
to hear.
Observation Dan?
Yeah.
With the rail trail?
No, yeah, you were like really early on all
Yes,
that.
that hasn't been a while.
They were in mid-January, they were early, remember they had the photos of the sculptures.
Decide outside of the meeting,
Sure.
It's a good problem.
if anybody's missed, prioritize them. If we've received everybody, I am fine with Adrian's recommendation.
It's our time.
It's good parking, if they're,
Oh, yeah.
Who they are.
just good timing, as they're approaching that new improved project down there, so.
Okay.
It's good.
Good.
Thank you for all that you guys do. Preserving history.
Thank you.
Now I have another.
So you guys are agreeing the skate parks to do this?
Yes, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Question, I'm just looking at the town website and different boards. Do we ever hear from the school, Johnson's reps to the school board?
No. There's not much direct town affiliation, but
Just don't know if there'd be any value in that. I mean, we don't help with constructing their budget or anything like that, but
Mhm.
we try 100, they had 10,000.
That'd be good to invite them. I was also, you reminded me, I was going to ask if we wanted to invite the new principal at the elementary school to a meeting sometime, since there's a new principal.
Oh, cool.
our school is a town asset, even if we don't have direct responsibility.
And the school's rating has a direct impact on property value.
And it does,
We control nothing of.
yeah.
We don't have much control of that building,
No.
none.
No, but I like your thought. I support that.
Is there an opportunity for shared services that where we might be able to reduce this town or the school budget by combining services or combining contracted for shared services? It's just something to be mindful of before we walk into that conversation, just to try to. We've had some great collaboration, especially with the library project. Just continuing that collaboration might be good to see what else can we do, maybe trash hauling. Maybe, like seriously, like, let's figure out like, what are our big points that we need help with, and maybe we can bite onto some of theirs, and maybe we can support some of their weak points as well.
That for the like school districts in the state of Vermont, it's gonna solve everything.
We're on that rabbit hole with that. I believe we're at the point of an executive session. Which I guess we can go in the back room and not disturb everybody here. There's less of us than there's of the public, unless the whole historic society is leaving. You guys outnumber us.
One thing we're on, it's wonderful, we completed a second at the time that we're scheduled to begin.
Wow. There's a lot, I mean, tonight.
Yeah.
Certainly. At this point, I think you're welcome.
Be a subject, so. I just email you so we can have the steps and.
At this point, I would entertain a motion from the board to enter into executive session for securing or real estate purchase or lease. Inviting Thomas Gallinet, Hope Sullivan, and Jeff Clark.
So,
I'll second.
I'm gonna second. I think instead of shutting down Zoom, can we just mute the mics and go in the back room? That way it doesn't kick anybody out. Is everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
I put it on the events it was shown.
Further discussion? All those in favor
Recording
say
stopped.
aye. Okay, board consented out of executive session. 7:26. Peter has some information to share with the public.
We're happy to say that we've been in conversation with the Vermont Studio Center about the future of road electricity. which no longer is needed by the studio center. And 30 years ago, when the town sold to the studio center, the town was also given the right of first refusal. So the studio center is allowing us to exercise that right, and therefore we are going to be scheduling a special town meeting. The timeline of that yet to be determined, but determined soon.
So the voters can weigh in, and we'll have an informational meeting before the special.
So the voters can weigh in, and before that, we'll have an informational meeting as well.
Thank you very much, Peter. It wasn't really emotional, it's just the public information. Well, thank you. I think Peter already said it all, and the whole board feels this way. Thank you both, Jack, very much for your considerate conversations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Heather is not here, so is the board okay if we kind of work down some other items? We are ahead of schedule. And it's not gonna last all meeting. Yeah, Dawn said she was gonna come and do a presentation, right?
Oh, she's on for 8 o'clock, and it's only 7:30.
Okay.
Yeah, she said she's gonna arrive early at 7:45.
That's fine.
Okay.
So if the board's okay with it, we can take up the next couple items. Number 9, LCPC, this email is in your packet. It's looking for 2 town representatives to hang on.
This is to be on the selection committee on the, sorry.
No, keep going.
Yeah, and then the selection committee for the RFPs for the projects at 2 projects. One is at Western Road, the floodplain restoration and preliminary design. And the other is the guy on the Memorial River influence floodplain restoration.
Motion to appoint Paul Warden and Adrian. I don't know why I was over there. Do we town representatives for the selection? Was there a second? Second. Further discussion, you guys agree with that?
Here, so.
Yeah, I feel like we're correct.
Your volunteerism is not needed. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, and the ayes have it. Then to reach out to LCPC, or you're just gonna report?
I'll start a group email.
Cool, alright. That's awesome. Next up, Town of Johnson Committee and Commission Share Guide. Adrian, I believe, has put a lot of time into this. Correct me if I'm wrong, Adrian, are you just looking for the formal approval to accept this?
Formal approval, but one thing I haven't read in here is, so I have a section called committee budget and finance questions. And it just says the fiscal year votes and says to reach out to Rosemary for budget related questions. But I would also really put for any purchases all over this amount. That you must get select board approval, just to make it clear to committees.
What's the purchasing policy at sea level?
So 30,000.
I actually think. Tom,
I think that
I think they need to go to you,
Rosemary or a purchasing person.
Yeah, they're not purchasing agents directly.
So they would. I think what's interesting is anything over 1,000 is between 1,000 and 3,000 is that window. Anything, I think we said anything under 1,000 is considered an incidental purpose, so that it's in their budget, you can do it. Anything over 1,000 would need 2 signatures, either from Rosemary and them or with myself and them.
Okay, so anything over 1,000, they need to reach out.
Like.
I was looking for money that they're spending.
Yeah, this is out of the budget.
Okay, so it's just if I.
Purchasing policy doesn't really cover if it's a grant, should still have a formal process, any fund that would be spent out of the town coffers.
So if it's over 1,000, reach out to you and Rosemary.
One or the other.
One or the other.
Well, I think it's also purchasing, no,
Wrong,
it's not.
wrong, board members,
No.
down. No spend,
Okay, I'll add that. Was there
that's the
any?
last page.
Huh?
But you already
Okay.
got it set up.
Okay.
Is the board comfortable with approving this?
I have a question for, again, if I can find it, in a second.
Mhm.
My question was with regard to agenda posting. It says. Oh, okay, so number 2. Post the agenda in at least one other public place, in addition to the suburban park board, posting 2 other accessible places. I believe 2 is the correct number there.
Yeah,
So we should say. At least one other, we should say at least 2 other.
says, in addition to the municipal building, the clerk board post in 2 other accessible public locations.
So I'll come on
Here
here.
it says at least one.
Oh, thanks. Good catch.
I think technically one fits, but
I looked at.
consistency,
I don't think so, I've already said.
the town website counts as one. And then there's 2 public.
Well, I'm not sure if it does, so I tried to read up on it and I couldn't tell, it's maybe.
I checked a few different areas and it says that, but.
I'm fine with it being 2. And the guy,
I think that people don't do that, but there's folks too, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Did you have any more questions, Paul, Peter, Mike? I would entertain a motion to approve the committee chair communication guide, committee and commission chair communication guide with the edits made on August 18th. So, second, further discussion?
Can this be posted on the website and is it okay if Tom emails this to chairs whenever there's a change or anything, and chairs?
Yeah, perfectly fine.
Okay.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed? And the ayes have it. We are still ahead of schedule, but this is exactly where I put the additions. Mercy contract.
Yeah, thanks for putting that together.
Yeah. So, Del Thursday was selected as a low bidder for the Glenway Lane Armory project. We're having a construction meeting, tomorrow, and I received a call from the engineer today saying they would like a contract signed before they begin construction, and they'd like to start as soon as possible on that project, which is asking for signature authority, and to have it signed.
I would move that we grant signature authority to the town administrator for the contract with Percy on Glenway Lane work. Improvement project, project.
That's a good motion. Is there a second to that one? So. Further discussion? We already approved the contract. It's just a contract. You reviewed it, you're good with it, so.
Yeah, it's actually, it's a great contract. There's a lot of protections for us.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. Another additional item that was brought up at the beginning of the meeting. Was reiterating the TA authority to sign FEMA buyout documentation. It was, Tom was granted authority by a previous board. And there's 5 offer letters right now that need signature, and I don't believe we re-upped that as a board, and we need to, just for clarity. So I'd entertain a motion from the board to authorize the town administrator to sign.
We're doing one person as a backup in case I'm on vacation.
Sure, somebody's got to form a motion then
Move your motion.
to sign FEMA buyout documentations for the properties that have come before us before. Say,
With evidence back.
okay. You clear on that, Don?
To sign what? Should I say that?
Buyout application and offer letters. and other documentation.
Right, the notice to proceed, all documents that don't accrue additional costs to the town, 17 already approved.
16. 17. 16 normal, one through a weird one.
One with the one.
Yeah. Now is Adrian's motion. Do you want that read back?
No.
All right. Oh. We all clear on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. We also had an addition for electric power coming to Johnson. This was by.
So I just had a question as to what happened last Thursday night. Does anybody know? We were in a meeting here and Mike had jumped around because the store lost power yet again and he was afraid. He kind of was for some supplies again. And then the generator was moving so on and so forth and barely got through. And just wondering, you know, what happened and what redundancies do we have? What?
When you say we, you mean what redundancies does the town have?
Well, let's start with what happened.
There was,
There you go.
there was no,
A true line alarm and people don't do it, why?
there was an electrical fire, this is right, electrical fire in Morrisville that affected the village electric. Something, yeah, and it was out for a couple hours. I don't know.
That's better with the compromised. And then you installed and they had to be replaced with.
What had to be replaced?
Some of the flats bed insulators, porcelain beds. They're too
We're getting conflicting stories. I will offer to ask the electric utility if they know what happened, understanding that we don't own or control the electric utility.
Understood.
And when you ask about what provisions do we have? I believe this building in our town garage is our generator backup.
Yeah, because meetings here were on undisturbed.
Yep.
The generator running outside.
Mm-hmm.
The story I heard was there's supposed to be a down the line somewhere that hasn't been activated. No idea if that's true.
That's
It was given out by the village.
the village ownership. Village decision, and if they choose to pursue that again in the future. I would be happy to support the board. Writing a letter of support for that, but. Really put me in a tricky position here, Paul.
Doing my best.
Somebody you should have said that about.
It was out.
I really, so I would appreciate asking some more information and just what's the status.
What's the status of it not happening again? Or,
Yeah, explanation of what happens and why there's no redundancy, just like, oh, let's sorry that it affects the town. I realize it's the village responsibility authority, but it affects the town.
After the last outage, I asked a very similar question, and I was told that there was an annual cost to the redundancy. That was pretty exorbitant, maybe 75,000 a year or something. I'm not sure the exact number. Because it hooks into a different company. It's not Morrisville. I think it hooks to GMATV's power line. And so just to maintain access to a line for 4 hours annually that's very expensive.
Well, that's the answer, that's perfectly reasonable answer, but I don't know that and people have.
If you normalizing that to the public, yeah, it would matter, but it makes total sense when they no longer. That I would explain to them. Yeah.
there's a cost. I realized that I lost power at my house. And I didn't ask the co-op why. But maybe we should be. In the future, this seems like a targeted question towards. A specific utility.
No, you're misinterpreting, it's not a targeted question against utility at all, it's a targeted question trying to support the local vendor in town.
Okay. Fair enough.
It's a positive question, not a negative one.
Okay.
and just to add on to that conversation, that night. BJ asked me if it was okay if Lydia posted on the town website that the electric was up, or I might have asked him to ask her to do that, because he was reaching out to me to tell me it was going on, so just wanted to let you guys know.
That was That was helpful to have that link.
Yeah,
Perfect. Not back on track yet. Mike. Just area attorney,
Right,
it's not an executive session item or
I don't know, I don't think it should be, I just, think it would be some kind of a policy with, if, let's say something happens on a town road and an attorney would start getting involved, that none of our employees should talk to an adversarial attorney unless the town attorney is involved.
even if the adversarial attorney is representing the town in defense.
Well, no, that's not really an adversarial attorney, right? An attorney, adversarial attorney will be representing an individual that was hurt on our roads and say, well, I don't want any of our employees talking to any attorney that's an adversarial. So that the town would probably be in processing.
That's not.
It has a bit of close.
So can you inform our employees? The entire board back Mike's decision
it doesn't want employees talking to attorneys.
that are trying to sue the town.
So normally, if you were to talk, say I had an attorney and I'm suing you, right? My attorney could talk to you and get information to support my case. But you should be represented, if you have an attorney to be represented, and if we do have attorneys who represent us, nobody should be talking to our employees without representation present, and our employees need to know that they can't do that without representation present.
Is this for union employees?
No,
Any employee,
we can talk.
they may have to know, right?
It is, I just had to understand it. Is the entire board good with that? Do we need a formal motion? Are you good, Tom?
I think it's good.
Okay. Hang on. All right. Heather, we're ready for you.
I thought you might be, I could see. Now. Good, but I'm so glad there was a great talk about that. No, you guys, how many of you folks go to the Johnson Panther Station?
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Are you kidding? Mine brings more things home.
Here.
We didn't realize it was so hot, but they wanted it on Saturday.
Wasn't that amazing? Did you all get a chance to?
It's easy for a signature when I was up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody was, should be out there. Yeah, the one ridiculous.
It's a miracle.
Yeah. So I just, I've been talking to Tom for a bit and I just want to come and introduce myself because, I'm relatively new to the district. Not very new to Vermont County. And I know, the transfer station's been there for quite a while. We like being there, I believe. According to 7 days in stuff in Vermont, you guys all enjoy, the town enjoys having us there. And it is such a asset to the community. I just wanted to, like I said, introduce myself and keep our relationship open. We do have a town agreement with the town, and we have one for the village with the compost facility as well, and that is coming up to discuss. And before I don't want to talk about any nitty-gritty stuff at all, I just kind of want to come in and see if there's questions or any concerns folks have.
Those are good for renewal. And the composting facility, it's not really a renewal, that agreement will be with the town.
Okay.
Really.
And again, for me, on my side, town and village, Johnson is Johnson.
Yeah, certainly.
So like, some municipality folks come up and they bring their light bulb, there's a lot over the sewage department, they bring their light bulbs up.
and we're happy to take all those. And I'm talking to Tom, having our outreach coordinator come in and offer education to staff of the town. Recycling can be a little complicated. And knowing what to do with the materials that to come into all your places. Yeah, yeah. Compost up there is going well. I think we've got more compost available than we've had ever so far to sell, which is exciting. So we posting a lot of stuff for the fall sales, and really just I gotta tell you, we have five facilities. And I hope this isn't recorded, but I guess it is. But Johnson, I'll say, is one of my favorites with a wink, wink. You know, it's a great place, just like they showed on the video. It really is community. Everyone comes in there. Our staff is well acquainted with the town, and I, you know, when I went there, I run into quite a few people that I grew up with, or teachers that I still have to call by their last name. Can't avoid that. So yeah, the opportunity for you. Are there concerns or things you guys want to talk about with the transfer station?
I love what you guys do. It's amazing. I love going up there and buying compost and doing all the things. I was curious if there were any plans for accepting compost in the future. I would love to have compost pickup someday, but I don't know if that's ever in the plan.
You mean like having a route or something? Yeah. So we don't do any hauling. Okay. Right now, we do have one commercial organization that comes in, it's Black Dirt Farm. They pick up at Memorial Union and do some other areas. I don't think here in Johnson.
Studio Center. I think they do Studio Center.
You do Studio Center? Yes. And so they bring stuff up there. I really am hopeful that the state will maybe support more opportunities for people to have that pickup service. Yeah. You know, there are some private companies that do it, but it is expensive. Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I know the buckets, they fill up quick. And we try to keep things as affordable as possible. Right. Yeah.
I think drop off would be pretty successful too for residents. Compost drop off.
Well, they can drop it off at our facility now.
Or they can.
They'll get all food scraps. So you can. I'm not gonna try to upsell people, but we do have buckets for sale. And so for, you know, you can bring a 5 gallon pail, you can bring your own and you can drop that off. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, food scraps. So the food scraps that the compost that you're putting up could be from your neighbor's food scraps. And a lot of other material too that we have to purchase, but that's a good starting point. Some things that we're really looking forward to up there is and it's all our facilities, they're aging, right? Unlike myself, they seem to age. And it's one of those things that we now need to start thinking about replacing things. And Johnson, hopefully, I think we put it onto the fiscal year 2027 to replace those compactors that are old. Maybe you heard this weekend, actually, our recycling compost compactor was down. And, you know, things need to be replaced. I think those ones were purchased from Ames. Are those Ames compactors? So that just aged me a little, I guess. Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, you know, they're old. And, you know, with that, doing some building, I like things to be neat and tidy. The staff like things to be neat and tidy. It looked really good, I think, on the video. And then we, you know, are fixing a few other things up in the meantime. One big thing that everybody complains about, and I totally get it, is the puddle and the notorious puddle. Keith said, well, they're books, and I can't disagree with that. But it is one of those things that's not as simple as just filling in the grab. Like we had a great idea too that we'll look into long term. I'd love to work with the town on doing some stuff up there. Like you've seen, you know, I don't have to tell you, it's an asset for the town. Towns would love to have a transfer station like that. So something we can discuss in the future. But really just any other questions you guys have or concerns?
What's the dog whistle budget?
Oh my gosh, like that line item, it's a lot. It's a lot, but they're actually some of our favorite customers. And it brings, you know, it's well, thank you.
See, first of all.
Yeah. If we could collect the drool and process that in some way, monetize it, we wouldn't have to have any fees. But, yeah, it's a lot, and it really makes customers smile, it makes the staff smile, so we enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Is there anything we could do to help like educate residents on like recycling or composting or like keeping them aware that you guys are there or anything?
Yeah, and that's one of the things I've tasked Erica to talk to all the towns and work with your town administrator, town clerk, or select boards. Probably it's a lot for you guys to do. I saw your agenda tonight, so probably not. But to do more outreach to that, and if we can educate the folks that work for the towns, then that kind of trickles down, right? They take on. It's just like going into the schools, trying to get schools and the kids come home and tell their parents. And that would be great. Okay, it's complicated and things keep changing.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Is there any plan to put scales up there?
If you would like to put some scales up there, we would use them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no problem.
So as you're probably well aware, do you guys have any scales? You don't have any scales in town? Yeah, they're very expensive. I know, down the road, Casella has scales. So up there we do it by the yardage, but I'm not gonna say never, because that site is such a great location. It's got a great flow. If money wasn't an option, wasn't a problem, I would say yeah, because you could totally see where the scales could go there, right? Right at the shack. So nothing soon, but I never say never. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I had one thing, may I?
Sure.
And I
And one more question.
the county representative, so.
You are.
You're doing a fabulous job. So I hope in her close.
Yeah. What is the opportunity of having a spotlight Stowe used to have a while back, being able to drop off goods and machinery and things that work and have people come by and say, pick it, that was, I don't know where the state stands on that, but that would be popular at our transfer station.
Like a reuse room?
Yeah.
We do have a space there, be involved getting the building. And from my understanding with Stowe, the reuse built, well, first COVID came into the world, changed. So it was staff time, it was taking a lot of staff time to see what was good, because some folks, something that, that's still good, it's just missing the handle. That's not something that we want to take in, but I would welcome that, and that might be something where we as a partnership could do, or maybe there's an organization in the town that would be interested in kind of overseeing a reuse space, and there's places up there, with electronics and stuff, that gets a little more tricky because for me, I'm always worried about liability. And if you let someone pick up a lamp and they plug it in and it burns their house down, well, that frightens me. But there are some opportunities for some other good things up there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bicycles and.
Not I love bicycles, no, I take them all home. So, yeah.
The transfer station was Stowe, it's way too big for me,
Yeah,
so I gotta figure out what the hell to do with it.
is that why you want the reuse room? Yeah.
So,
I think that's a great idea, and we might be moving, we've got small sheds, but if we could figure out a way to do that, and the town thought that was a great thing too. Johnson's the place to do it. Yeah,
I'd be supportive of that. Yeah.
yeah.
You know what bothers me after is that the boxes, okay. The bill boxes, yes, put it out on in one of those annexes or.
The Gaylord, the Gaylord thing.
And they're full of us, well. Those are all destroyed, the covers are red, they're run through a chopper and everything else. There's a ton of.
So, and I'm going to tell you what happens in those books. Because some are the ones that are not be resold and not be donated, yes, they are shredded. The other ones do go back onto the market or donated with the organizations that we.
Can you mute?
Yeah.
The one other question I had was, could you work with the town for a future emergency management director to come up with something for the amount of boxes we need when it floods? You know, in full disclosure to the public, I talked with Keith in 2023, and it's not that you guys weren't supportive. You know, Keith talked with his supervisor at the time, and they were offering us space to run dump trucks up there and dump them on the ground and then pick it up with a loader. But logistically, it was just a lot more effort than driving it Hyde Park. Everything goes to Casella anyways. I guess that's where the bottom profit ends up either way you go. But I know that was the first 3 days probably a huge headache, that if there was an agreement with the Memorial Solid Waste Management District, if you guys had an agreement with your haulers or something, that, you know, we could pick the boxes here. And it's not for the town thing because we pay for everybody's trash. But we were in competition with other companies and individual people that got these haulers, and I'm like, does it sound bad to say we should have taken priority? Am I making sense?
You are, and so again, I'm new to solid waste. My background is federal government and agriculture. And there's always a lot of red tape, right? When anything, when disaster comes and there's going to be an emergency, and you think there's, well, it takes a lot of time to get those things in place. So the state is putting upon the districts and the towns to do what you're talking about, is come up with a plan instead of being thrown back on our heels when it happens, to have our feet nice and flat on the ground and be prepared. How that's all going to work out to be, I think they're still working on some of the little details. We have this thing called a SWIFT. It's like a 5-year plan, and it has to do with outreach and how we're going to meet these different things, and coming up with an debris place, you know, a place for debris for flooding or disaster is in there, and working with the towns on your, is your emergency person here?
Right here.
And beyond that, because that's like the part we were required to do, I would be happy to sit down with you and for us to come up with a plan that goes even beyond what the state does, just so we're prepared. Now, financially, that have to be a bigger talk. But
I'm not asking you guys to.
But if you're looking
to these finances, I'm asking to get the town somewhere on a priority list that makes sense, so we can get the services. Collaboratively with taxpayers. I think we spent 70 grand in trash or something like that, around 65, 66. Nobody lost contractors to sell. It's just we couldn't even get a box in the state.
Yeah, so we don't have a lot. We don't want a lot of boxes. But what I'm saying, I would be happy to talk to you and we can go through that. And I can show you what we have, and we need to start replacing our boxes because they're rusted out, like other equipment. All hauling will be done during the holiday.
I know, but you have agreements with haulers, I'm assuming.
We have to do one haul.
We can leverage that, maybe. It's a conversation.
That's it. And the hauler we had previously was a local hauler, we no longer. So now I will tell you, it's no secret, our haulers sell.
Big surprise.
Well, there's not a lot of folks out there. And we work really well with them, but you're right, if that's a way we can help the town with our relationship with them, be happy to do that.
Casella's.
I don't think, I'm just building a relationship with them too. But let's prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
I won't be around for the next flood. So
You won't be.
that'll be somebody else's problem.
Well, and whoever has an interest in it, I'd be happy to sit down. And any of you that if there's other topics you want to talk about more in depth, I'd be happy to do that. Office up in Morrisville, so I drive by this all the time. Okay, to do that.
The re-management plan that came out maybe 6 months after the flood.
Okay.
There's some to-do list items that never got finished up, but I can send you the draft I've got so far. And I think one of the suggestions in it was a contract with a hauler. That's on a 3-year basis to say we need 5 boxes to be dropped off at predetermined locations. And I think having it all, to get us to the finish line, we should do all of that.
Yeah, I'll do my best, and again, you know, when we did the hauling, put it out the bid, and I can show you the process we did for that, and we've got a list of potential haulers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm the Green Up Day organizer, so I'd love to collaborate with you when we get back in the next year. I don't know how we could partner together, but I'm sure there's something we could do. Yeah.
And even if it's just outreach and getting, you know, the word out.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
getting people to take care of things even before Green Up Day. You know,
Yeah.
and a lot of things people don't understand that comes at our house rates, and people bring us buckets of paint, right? And we
Yeah.
bring those to the hardware store anytime, and that's a huge pickup thing.
Right, we were thinking that, well, I was thinking about with the beautification committee, doing a orange up day, like fall.
Yeah. Yeah, you does that, right?
Yeah, so that's, I thought was going around.
You're part of the Johnson beautification too?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, everything we've done with town, and I have to do these, we do this beautiful compost, if you have some projects. We do help with some donations for compost.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and because the flowers and everything looks amazing. It's good.
Thank you very much, Heather.
Yeah.
Any further questions? Thank you. We're good.
Good.
Well done.
Look forward to talking more with you guys in the future.
Yeah, great to meet you.
Yeah, good talk.
Good one.
Rest of your agenda.
You go.
Slide next up again.
Let's go.
We're all good with that?
Yeah, excited.
Appointment of LCPC liaison. Group of board like to appoint as the town liaison to LCPC. Roll. Is that a motion? Is there some?
Which was.
Yeah, the town
Just the
representative.
towns.
Instead of having project going out, we need to, it's a field board to say, okay, what happened last night,
You are on LCPC's board. You have to go to. Is there general board meeting once a month or once every other month? And then if you join any of their committees, like I believe Duncan, was our liaison before.
And I was before in.
You were before him and he joined the projects committee and chaired that subcommittee, so I think it's high level or low level, but you do have great communication with LCPC because of your background. You seem hesitant.
How are you with it?
Well,
What, you wanna take this up again?
We don't have to appoint somebody tonight, it wasn't important board, it does not have to be a select board member, it will not. If you're rejecting it,
now we're getting it, but let's not appoint tonight.
okay.
Next meeting.
And if the board is not appointing somebody tonight, can we authorize Tom to get it out there on Facebook, town website, front porch forum, and call for volunteerism?
Of course.
To be the town's representative. Huh?
Candidates.
Before we get an answer from Paul. Are you against somebody else saying if they're interested in the position, Paul, we could still select you?
Well, if the point is to get the board's opinion. Then it seems like it's gotta be somebody on what's it out, get somebody who's been coming to our meetings.
I was under the understanding that there's actually two separate things. One is an appointment to the LCPC board. And the other is just a liaison for regular communication between the town and LCPC. Like since Duncan's gone, you've started talking more about it. So like, and I saw it as two separate roles.
We need a board reason. We need a board representative, that should be the liaison. But LCPC is there, you talk to LCPC? Have you?
You know,
About this?
About anything.
Oh, well, yes.
But yeah, if you're interested in that question. I don't think that all needs to be funneled through one person, if you have a question, ask it.
May I? You are expected to appoint somebody to be the town representative.
That's what I was asking.
The select. Yes, that's, yeah, it's just not, I think it's law to have a. Johnson needs representative on the board. We're talking out, we don't have to.
That's what I was asking for.
Yeah.
We were saying liaison, but
Yes,
that's why I said a board representative.
This came out of a conversation that I had with Tom Wallace, that in the past, if they had questions, they would reach out to Malcolm directly to say, hey, what's the feel of the board, what's going on, this, that, the other thing. Recently there was some confusion about what the board really wanted to happen. And so Tasha said, you know, we really need somebody who's a liaison from the board that we can reach out to if we have questions. It's not the administrator, it's somebody else, just to say, just to call and say what's actually happening, what's really the feel. You know, the meeting was kind of vague, or you guys didn't discuss this, we need something before. Which is different than a town representative. You know, it's no different than the liaison to the library and the liaison to other organizations, you know, the rail trail committee or.
But probably we should have said they're one of the same.
Exactly.
I didn't, sign me up.
All right, Mike's previous motion died for lack of a second. You want to make it again? To be the town representative to the LCPC board.
I'll second.
There's a motion, a second, further discussion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. With gratitude, all.
Right.
All those opposed, there's no opposed. Okay, truck financing, Tom has a write-up in the packet. I'm trying to find it here. I know you did. It was. Would you like to?
Yeah, so right now, the bill is on, historically, we would order a full package truck, we order a truck with a plow, sander. And then our body. And you would buy it all, so it was delivered to the town. And so International would take that truck, they had it built, it would sit on their yard for a short amount of time. Go to the body company and then come to us. Now we have 2-year build times and it costs, International will have that truck sitting on their lawn about $40 a day, $1,200 a month. And so they are requiring that we purchase the cab chassis before the body frame. They're under pressure, we're under pressure. This is the first time, and this is new for everybody. And so I just got a phone conversation with them this afternoon. It's a new news. It's ever changing. That's where they found Bank of America would be willing to finance a 1-year note with a single payment at the end of the year. So that buys us a year to do a formal proposal. We get the truck built. The truck takes about 2 months to get built. And now we have 2 years for a body time. So we're halfway there. And now they're trying to negotiate maybe to a 2-year note with a payment in the middle. Where we're not quite there yet. And then this all comes. They're also only able to change their warranty time from by a amount of a year. So the truck gets delivered, it sits on their yard, they can extend the warranty up to start date up to a year after it's delivered to that. So with a 2-year build time, we're almost losing a year of warranty. And so there's all these questions, right? Like, we don't want to lose warranty, but we need trucks on a regular basis on a scheduled plan. How do we do this? And they're held up by the body company too, because they're separate entities. For this, the immediate pressure is that we have a truck bill, it's gonna be ready at the end of Q2 next year. We can do a 1-year note just to get us to get it back in the body company, and then Rosemary could refinance with Union Bank, but you know, like, really puts out my, you get the best interest rate. That can still happen, but I think what we need to start doing is one, dealing with this immediate issue. He's gonna come back with more options in 2 weeks. I asked if that till September 7th. But I just want to give you a heads up on September 7th, we have to make a decision on this truck that's sitting on their lot. And so we're probably gonna have to pay interest on it on a truck that we aren't able to use, which is unfortunate, but I don't see any other option. And then the other piece is we're in the process of possibly ordering another replacement truck. And it's really hard. I was trying to negotiate with him tonight to put us on the build list for a body now, but then not order the truck for 18 months. So that way we have that 1 year period. And that's never been done before, and it's never been asked of him, so it used to be Clark, just as Josh Clark, now it's Allegiant, so it's a national company, and he's trying to see if they're even allowed that. But we have to find a way, we have to be flexible to like figure out how we can get through this without paying the least amount of interest and without losing any. That's my biggest concern is the reduction of warranty. I'm not sure if you said it or if Mike said it at that meeting, but that's, I think, the piece I've been advocating for the most is not losing our time once we got the truck. I even asked, and he's gonna reach out and look into extending them, say we have a 5-year warranty, would they extend it to 6 years to accommodate that 1 year that we lost? Right, so it's 6 years that they will over them, we only have it in use for 5 years, but it would help us out.
I think we get a 7-year.
Yeah, you're right, it is 7 years, but the engine's only 5 years, and so I guess that's why I said, but. Anyways, this is gonna come up next meeting, I was hoping to have him today, but he doesn't. His supervisor did either. But this is a problem that the entire state is in, and actually a lot of New England. The trucks are currently being built in Mexico, and then it's gonna look at other body companies. Ours is Viking out of Canada, it's the closest one to us, because there's a shop in Williston. But he's gonna look at other Viking plants around the country and have it go from Mexico to those plants to us to try to reduce body time. So if we go to a different part of the country where the longevity of trucks is longer than where it is in New England. Instead of having the trucks built locally, we might have them built like in California and then deliver here. If they're driving it from Mexico, what's the difference? But it's not the long way. But these are problems that we're gonna have to face on September 7th. What do we do with the truck that we ordered and is sitting and waiting, and then. What do we do with the next truck? And just formulate a plan with them to say, okay, this is what we want you to do. Order the truck now, knowing we're not getting one in 2 years, even though it's already on the list to be replaced. And yeah,
We would have to get a build from Viking. We wouldn't really need to order a truck.
you gotta order the body before you order the truck, which
Yeah.
is unheard of. Yeah,
But there's two things, I guess, that the board will need if we're not making a decision tonight. One, I don't know if it was well formulated and maybe it was just me. I wanted a guarantee from them on trade-in, because we're only talking about warranty. And while the town can get duped there, they could also dupe us for $20,000 on trade-in. And because we're gonna have to go through another inspection cycle, they can dupe us for another 10 or 12 grand there. So we're really just getting pounded the whole time. And the other thing that we'll need an answer on, if we go with that 1 year financing. My understanding is you can only take 60-month note on equipment for highway maintenance. Without going to the voters. If we take a 1 year note and then a 5 year note, it'll be 72 months and we need to go to the voters.
I think you can do a lease to own option, and you're allowed to lease equipment to own without going to the voters, and that's what they're.
So that's not a loan, that's a lease.
At least, exactly, municipal lease is very common in purchasing equipment, so that it kind of avoids. Going to the voters for a purchase on an annual cycle, you have to go to town meeting only once a year. And so and then the OCT has given me opinions on this in the past, and I'm sure they be really quick to get it. Yeah.
This is part of the capital plan, or does this have anything to do with the fifth employee?
I think we motioned to order this in like October.
That's right, this is a long time ago, we did delay the most recent. Ordering of the next truck. But this truck is Yeah, I think it's the October. It's old. And so the truck got built in 2 months and it's been sitting there. Costing Allegiance $40 a day. Whereas. Everybody's waiting on the body company that's outside of our control. It's outside of their control, it's outside of our control. And there used to be a few people right there in Marshall, so and they no longer do. They're not here, they moved down to New Hampshire.
That's what that'll do if we cancel it.
I don't know that there's. It's a question I should ask.
Yes, that's information we'll need.
So traded. Warranty, guaranteed warranty. Canceling. Is there anything else for me that? I invited him to
The
come.
financing thing, but that's VLCT, not Clark's.
Leasing versus. Purchase.
No, it's like, can you legally finance it for longer than statute allows if you use a different method?
Yeah, that's you can if you lease it, that's why, that's what, so that's. Anyways, I'll get it. Yeah.
Warranty, trade-in. Inspection, cancellation.
And I'm gonna say, if you come to a meeting, like, I don't want to be in the middle, I want him here to tell you. You know,
And if we can cancel it, we keep our bill date, maybe we'll buy a Western Star.
There you go. Here's the.
And I mean. Our town guys do a good job taking care of their trucks, those bodies really aren't that beat, but maybe the bed chains are, is there any feasibility of? Taking our existing body / side dump bed chains, wow. I had air off the system truck, I know there's a lot of hydraulic work that has to be done.
but even if you got new hoses. I mean, if it's repacked all the pistons, I think it's.
I know it'll be a lot.
Jason and I talked about purchasing stainless bodies. That have a really long lifespan and trying to get through 3 cycles of trucks with each one. And that way you're only on the build time for the 3rd one. There,
But who would do a swap over?
I think you could go up to a place in Richford, or there are local people who do that. There's guys go to each of them, this,
I guess information for the board, what's the feasibility, realism and cost of that?
yeah.
It's just facts and figures in front of us. For a second,
I will give you a quote, but I will bring Jason into the conversation to look into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
anything else from the board? Sounds like we're gonna have a fun meeting in September. Hearing nothing, Carl, you're in the hot seat. We're gonna walk down the color. Yeah, sure. So thank you for your report. I have to get to it. We're keeping loggers and business here.
I think we're up first. We close up first.
Yeah, and then industrial park next steps is up next.
Okay, so, on my report, the first sentence, I will the NDRC grant and industrial park, the first comment was that NEPA report was submitted back in late June and early July, word that it was accepted and received that notice of availability that we published, and we did that. And there were no public comments, so after I wrote this report, we received word that there were no public comments about that, so now Rumley is in contact with the Clark group regarding the Fonzie, and that's not spelled with C, it's spelled with an S. And so they are working on that. At this time, they're also asking for something else that I didn't know about until the official word came in regarding that there were no public comments, but there's also a final EA, which I assume is the environmental assessment. They're getting that. That sets the stage for the town getting the full notice to proceed by September 30th of this year. And another item that has to be checked off to get that is this form 1022, which is a form that lists how the town is going to provide its local match for this project. So when we're trying to arrange a meeting tomorrow or this week to talk with Tom and get that, and in preparation for that meeting with the team this week, Rosemary provided me with a copy of your with your special town meeting notice from last September, and then her official election results. She's a certified statement from her that those are the results of that bond vote, which was over half of your local match. We got that documentation to use, and then we just need to decide if you're earmarked with ARPA money or where the rest of the money is coming from.
I was gonna ask, do you have the town funding stack that we built for that meeting?
I've seen funding stack, but I haven't seen anything that was dated after spring of 2024, I think.
Seems about right.
And does it show money from your revolving loan fund?
It does not, because that was gonna complicate NEPA, so the board decided not to take a loan from the revolving loan fund. I can send you this email though, and it has $539,016 ARPA that our previous board designated. The bond vote amount, as well as what we had paid. I'll get you this. You can have it tonight if you want. It's a packet from a long time ago, but I'll get you that top copy. It has that. And did we allocate $75,000 in cash on hand last year or 2 years ago? Tom has all this anyways, but so if you want me to send it along, I can.
We're gonna have ARPA funding. I need to set aside from the surplus. We're gonna have 590,000 in bond, those two alone, I think we majorities and then 70,000.
Yeah, but there was more money there because that bond was worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But if that's all it needs to show for allocation, I guess.
I'll talk with Pat, in the call about that, I think keeping it simple and clean. Very easy to say, okay, they went out the bond for 590, plus they set aside this much money, plus we have the 175 or whatever set aside. It's like clean and short, and we'll get it, that added, so not a good that.
I can send you that though, if it helps with the
Yes,
conversation.
I think that works. I don't remember seeing.
There's a couple
Like this is as full as this one is.
There's a couple different iterations of it, but I'll find the most recent one.
Yeah. You're right, but there are several of the files that say staffing fund.
Yeah.
I've looked at a couple of it, and I don't remember seeing one like that one. So, for you, this all means that sometime in September, will probably be best if it was your first meeting in September. Come to you with this proposed form 1022, which select board to say, yes, this is what we're doing, have it documented in the minutes, so that we could submit that to NVRC and make sure it's accepted, so that there's time for everything else to get done, so that full notice of receipt can be issued by September 30th.
Yeah. Any other questions for Carl on his report? It's updates on a lot of things. Is there anything else you wanted to cover, Carl?
Rail trail connector study, which is the note at the bottom of the first page. 14 people attended, 14 people from the public attended that meeting here last Thursday night. So afterwards, the consultant said it was a very good meeting, that we were pleased with the comments and how we went, and
Although there will be a report coming from VHB, it seems like the people that were present preferred the railroad street option and of those, the one with minimal amount of treatment on railroad street is where they thought the town should look first.
Your big concern was speed. Because the other routes were much longer and involved. Just a lot more logistics and permits and whatnot, so I'm not ruling those out, but. We can't wait 7 years to get people off the rail trail into town.
And one other, yeah, just one other note, on second page, I mentioned about the Vermont Community Foundation grant. And one of the ones that I needed to work on, because it is a town responsibility, is the Legion Field project. That since I wrote this, I have learned more about that project, and hopefully I'll be meeting with Howard this week to work on that a little bit more.
Work on what for it?
Right.
To work on what for it?
Well, it's for me to get some idea of the scope of work that we're looking at. You know, from reading the meeting minutes, I understand that there's an interest in getting a better electrical service there. That the town is interested in maybe improving the skating rink.
Mhm.
And deciding where the bandstand is going to be located, and then various users' needs for storage.
Mhm.
The other needs place for
We
fire.
also committed to having a public hearing to discuss all that.
Right.
And hopefully that's in really September, but.
Right, we're waiting to
Yeah.
see when from BCRD when they're gonna be able to conduct that.
We should probably follow up with them soon, just for that 2 week noticing period for everything. And I think that fell off my radar. Just to see where they're at.
One thing that was brought up, for the welcome center steps, I know Duncan had mentioned in the past, maybe an amendment to an Act 50 permit would be easier than a whole new one, but. Because there's been amendments to the Act 50 permit, yes, but yes, it.
From what I understand from people from the rail trail committee involved and talking with Susan Baird. She issued a jurisdictional opinion that this project needs its own.
Okay.
Wasn't that already all disturbed once before? I mean, you still need an archaeological review?
Yes, apparently, that was needed. I didn't get it really right.
Talking about reinventing the real over and over and over again. This is ridiculous to put in 9 grand steps and we have to jump through all these hoops. It's no wonder, it's a wonder anything gets done in the story of one.
So the Title 22 review is required because of the grant funding. That the town was telling you would have even Title 22, the Act 250 permit would be required, whether it was the town's money paying for it or a grant paying for it. And apparently they revised the Act 250 rules, so now if you're just digging into the ground with non-residential property, that can act in the
Better ask forgiveness and permission sometimes.
Are we ready to move on to the industrial park if nobody else has questions? Some further comments?
I didn't realize I got an email from you, Carl, that I missed for some reason about the RERC grant for the steering committee. But happy to participate in that. That's what happened.
Yes.
We're still waiting for official order on that. Hopefully by the September meeting, we'll have an answer. But that's good news.
Okay.
So, maybe some good serving.
Battery's running well. On the industrial park, you had a few items for us.
Yes, again, because things are moving along now, so earlier I talked about things related to the grant. And these are related more just to the planning, the engineering work here. And this is all getting ready for submitting the Act 250 permit application for the industrial park. So finalizing the plans for that. And one of the minor questions, I guess, is regarding road pavement markings. So just to make sure that everybody's on the same page, because I saw some plans that showed pavement markings with bike and pedestrian lanes marked on the edge. I asked about that and normally said, well, that was on there just because that's like your standard starting point. But they weren't planning to include those kinds of pavement markings on the roads in the industrial park. But I don't know who else might have seen those plans and what they might be thinking, so I wanted to clarify with the select board, since it's your project, that what you want, if anything, for pavement markings on those two roads in the industrial park. And on that matter, I suggest to you that you ask the engineer not to show any pavement markings until you learn some point in the future that they're really needed.
Yeah,
like that suggestion.
do you need a motion on that or the board consensus?
If it was at least documented in the minutes that the board's consensus was.
Is the board's consensus no line marking shown?
Yes.
Yes, for sure. And Adrian loves stop signs. Is the board's consensus that we should instruct the team to have stop signs installed on road A at Route 15 and road B at road A?
Yes,
Adrian's general consensus is yes.
more stop signs.
We saw that. Just hoping we turn call. Sounds like there's more arguments there, sorry, and the.
The next one was the pipes for water service and for wastewater. The plans currently show pipe sizes listed here. Road A, which is the main road in the industrial park, the longer one, has a 10-inch main for sewer, 6 in the service line stubs. That's because there's bigger lots up at the top of the hill, where road A ends, and just to make sure that there's enough capacity there for what user might go in. The team has suggested it's a 10-inch sewer main and then the 6-inch service stuff.
And on road B, they're suggesting an 8-inch main with 4-inch stubs.
Yeah, which is more typical for sewer line service.
Has I mean, the village signed an agreement that they take over ownership of infrastructure. Have they somewhat weighed?
Well, I don't know. What we're looking for now is for you to say, these are the plans that we'd like to propose, and then I guess from there, those plans would go to the village for the final sign.
Is the board comfortable with those sewage pipe recommendations for the roads and lawns?
Yes. But the team, before my time, the team talked about this from what I understood from the last meeting. And it was decided that these would be
Sufficient.
would be right size proposed.
Are you comfortable with it, Adrian?
With the
So the logic for where A, yeah, I could understand that, and B is that.
Given my lack of any knowledge of water mains and sewage pipes, I'll go with the team.
What's the issue there, you know?
I don't, sorry.
You know, really, the material is not that much. It's the way it was good. You know, and it's always good to go just a little bigger.
Well, we made that one at the team meeting, I was going to say that, yeah, you might as well, because, the difference in the pipe, let's say a foot of pipe was 8 inch and 10 inch isn't that much, but if you have to go back and replace it in the future, it's gonna be a lot more expensive to do that.
I mean, bringing a lot more money to replace it.
If we put it in an 8 inch pipe now. And find out later that it needs.
Oh, you need a 10, yeah. You know, I would offer a 10 myself, but. You know, it's ductile iron, like you said, it's not that much difference, and that's what they're gonna use. Correct, they're not gonna use plastic.
I would assume that the wastewater plants would be.
No, I'm not about the probably water.
Oh, the water, I don't know what the village's specs are now, some places have switched to, plastic water pipe.
I think they are using plastic CPS, good size.
No, I think we should be using, we have enough contamination with plastics in our system as it is. Without putting plastic water mains in. I think we should have ductile iron main. Ductile iron 10 inch.
So you're worried about the water size, not the sewer size.
Right, sewer is coming.
All of the board members have gone with the sewer size recommendation, Carl.
Micro. Water coming in, not being plastic.
Wicked big. Glass lined.
Just one question.
The building over.
I don't know anything about water or sewer, but the outlet size for road A is a 6 inch stub. And the inlet water side is a 6 inch stub, so your outlet and your inlet are the same size. I think you just double check that.
Where, what?
Yeah, so the water is a 6 inch there, again, those bigger buildings, and they've got greater probability that the buildings would have to be sprinkler.
Yeah.
Requiring larger service.
And just verifying that the drain for the same building is also 6 inch, it's not larger than the inlet. So
That's not.
okay, yeah, that's another item, so. Yeah.
So we have one board member that would like larger means.
Ductile iron.
We have one board member that would like larger means of a specific material. And how's the rest of the board?
Something water, to be larger.
Mains.
No, I could care less, I think, so it's small. I'm just worried about the water. And I would like to see ductile iron.
And do you think really should be 10 inch?
Yeah, I like to see a 10 inch.
And will be.
Yeah, 10 inch on both of them. And the 1 inch service line, but then but what they're gonna use for water in the buildings. You know, it depends on your temperature and your volume and everything else up there, you know. Right, do you have the volume data for the amount of water that they can get out of these segments?
Well, there's nothing there for them to test in that area right now, they would have to just check pressure at the closest.
Right, I understand.
15. On the 1 inch service line on road B. It was discussed that, again, because of the size of the lots, roughly a half acre. The buildings cannot be very large. There might not be a lot of demand for water, but even if there was, let's say that a different kind of business went in there that does use a lot of water, they would still have the option of putting in their own service line out to the 8 inch.
That's true. Yeah, that would be nice if it was all a little bit bigger. You can always have a 2 inch line, take it down at 1 inch.
Yeah,
We don't have a traffic maintenance.
every reducing coupling creates some area for bacterial growth, so we need to add more chemicals or water to kill it.
We don't, it's not,
I mean, I'm not an expert, Mike, but
it's not that bad, if you live in one system, it's properly following, it's following the disinfectants in there, that's not.
I'm saying like a 12-inch stuff. Not like a 2-foot lead. Because the board comfortable with increasing the mains to 10-inch if possible, and water supply for both roads.
Yes.
Yes,
Going with the service line recommendations.
and
Is that-
iron material, right?
Yeah, I guess we do that, if they need it, if they need a bigger one, they can go find. They go themselves.
I got them putting that back to the team. Next up, you have a recommendation for giving the engineers a direction on showing the snowmobile trail. And can you explain that? If I read your words, it's gonna sound weird.
Okay, so. There is an existing snowmobile trail through the property, and right now basically runs down what will be the main road over the way. And this is a trail that provides some access to residents of the area, but it's also the trail that provides access from a vast trail down to the Jolly's gas station and convenience store, which is a common sort of destination for snowmobiles. For out riding, they might need to fuel up, or they might want to get something to eat and drink. So I thought there would be interest in trying to maintain that, and local snowmobile club president said that if he and his brothers, he'd like to see a trail along the west side of the road plots along the west side of the road A. That might be the cleanest way for them to get there, but also is that if something were to happen, there's more open space the budding landowner where they might get permission to go over there.
So that's going across the top.
Yeah, that's the yellow one on your which on the handout. Hopefully that's in through on the first one that was sent to me. Really, it was Sunday, took a while. Yeah. Yeah.
Why not go around why go up the road that far, not just go around the police one?
The engineers thought that because of the piping and the inlets and the steep slope around the stormwater retention area, it wouldn't be feasible with a club to have a trail there and do the broken. So that's why they suggested coming down by lots number 4 and 5 and 4.
I thought the Western Isles gave a lot of sense and probably is the least intrusive, if that matters.
Does the easement need to be 20 feet wide? Could we go for something like 15?
Yes, you could. The groomer, I understand, grooms the trail 8 feet wide. There would be some places, of course, when you go around curves or whatever, that you might be using a bit more than that. But I put in the 20 feet. It's more, but right to do this and not want to give it full 20 feet.
This is the yellow on here is where you're proposing the trail.
The other one is problem.
Yeah, this one that goes across the top.
This one over through.
Yes, the other,
That's not acceptable, that one foot, all over the top is.
you know, the idea is to move the trail to the back of the lot line, so that's not going right through the lots. That would
It shouldn't even be anywhere near the industrial park. It should be outside of the industrial park, and they should make some agreement with other landowners.
Right, so one point that I did want to bring to the select board's attention tonight is that Pat Ripley, and boy, some of you know who he is. He feels differently about this. He feels that that showing the snowmobile trail at any of the lots will deter prospects from considering or proceeding and buying a lot and putting a business there, because they've got this item on their, like an obligation on their property that they won't be able to do exactly what they want with their property. So he suggests not showing the trail and letting the club do what it does with everybody else. Go to the property owner and ask permission.
Right. Just what I said.
And the property owner could be occupant of an industrial park lot, is that?
Yes, yes, right. So
Okay.
if so, this select board decides this coming winter, you're gonna say to the club, yes, you can have your trail down through here, and then in the future, you continue doing that, but once you sell the lot, if the snowmobile trail is going through that lot, even if it's riding right along the edge of the property line, the club would have to go to that future lot owner and ask for permission to keep the trail there.
I take back my original enthusiasm for the western route.
You would like no snowmobile route shown on the plan.
No shown.
I think you were vocal enough. Could Paul come back?
Yeah,
So just a quick question, just to clarify, these lots are the buildable areas, but this whole piece is what that person would buy?
Yes,
Is that correct or not?
the dash, the dotted line is the property line, and what that boulder lines show, or what the engineers think of as the buildable area.
That's kind of what
It's not.
but it's okay.
The buildable area could change.
Okay. I like to support the snow, but I appreciate a nice comment. I think no trail shown.
Sounds like majority of rules. Are we getting in line with them?
yeah. I support them as well. I think we can work something out that we have applicants and help facilitate that.
So we don't want easements or a snowmobile trail shown on the drawing set.
Casey?
Is that all correct?
Well, I just wanted to thank Carl for being in touch with past folks and bringing everybody's attention on this issue, because I know from many past discussions with Red, et cetera, that there's a lot of vested interest for snowmobilers to be able to have that line of access. But so I want to thank you.
For lack of a better term, I don't want to say marching orders. Do you have your answer?
Yes, I will. It should also be noted for the record that I do support this snowmobile law, that I don't want to do anything that would jeopardize the sale of the law.
Right.
And using that to lead into Kyle's next item. Covenants.
So I'm experienced with industrial park with covenants, and so I was curious that Johnson was considering that, and in Johnson's case, maybe it might be even more important the way I was looking at it, because you don't have zoning. So when you're kind of used to go in there, so does the town have a vision, or you're calling it an industrial park? So do you just want to see businesses or retail, commercial establishments there, but with no zoning? Somebody buys a lot telling you, yeah, we're going to put, a small office building in there, and then turn around later and sell it to somebody who puts in a house or a couple of houses. Is that what you want, or do you not care as long as you can sell the lots and be done with it? I don't know. I'm just asking these questions.
So that whole idea of covenants was new to me today. And Evan and I were talking about earlier, I'd like just to have the opportunity to look at I think you provided the one from Barry. To see what kinds of things might be a covenant. My personal feeling is to have the lots as unencumbered as possible. But you know, maybe we want to think of some things not fitting our expectation.
Again, Mr. Ripley's opinion is exactly what you said, that keep the lots as unencumbered as possible so that you maximize possible interest.
Yeah.
In the lots. But then again, you have on the other side of the coin, does the town have a vision? Do you have a goal that you want to get out of this? And I asked that question somewhere along the line. Was it just to increase the tax base, or are you looking to increase the tax base and create employment opportunities?
There's an employment requirement as part of the MBRC grant application. Correct?
I'm sorry.
There's like a job creation requirement as part of the grant application.
Yeah, I didn't work on that application.
I know, certainly one of the goals, certainly one of the goals of the application, whether it's a or not, is.
But the goal is, as you said, increase taxes and provide jobs. That's what I always thought its goal, then it was all of that. Not what you said, that somebody buying it, putting an apartment house or something.
Can the board like send what we would like as covenants? Just have a list to go over next time or something?
You mentioned the time issue.
Yes, to keep things going along with the act, they should, this is something that you should work on immediately, because the covenants really should be at least approved by, if not drafted by the attorney, make sure they're going to withstand any challenges, and it doesn't create any problems with the board and acting as a grantor, which is like the enforcing agent of the covenants.
There's many years that we've been fiddling around with this. Why hasn't this been all of this guy's been done before?
Duncan brought this up a year ago.
That's what we had economic 6 months ago. They were supposed to do, we're supposed to be looking at all this. They're engineers and architects, and everybody else is working for us is supposed to be kind of helping us along. It seems like we're just getting nowhere and spinning our wheels constantly.
I'll drop this out a month ago.
I know, but still. It just never gets done.
Would there be any information that would be helpful to Chief Carl and for reminding us to everybody of that the public forum in the winter time, there was a Johnson and Jim. You probably remembering this, we had a public forum of the grant.
That was the informational meeting for the bond bill.
Yeah. That there was input and discussion of these topics at that meeting. I don't know if there were minutes, but I wondered would that be helpful to look at.
So that would have been like last August.
It was winter time, it was winter.
I think there was some.
At the elementary school.
I know we had 3 meetings that were like 2 of them.
Yeah.
One was here and 2 were there.
So.
Mhm.
We're adjourning the meeting.
Just remembering that that's what was talked about, was these very questions of use.
And there was strong support for industrial park and not mixing that with housing.
So was this meeting? You said it was like an informational meeting for the bond vote?
Donna knows where the minutes are.
Yeah. They're
on the website.
Every elementary school taking minutes, so I assume whatever members she's talking about.
Yeah, I can look them up and go to the account.
Thank you.
I guess we're gonna make post haste. My true feeling on covenants that would be applicable, or probably Act 250 covers most of. You know, hazardous waste, storm water runoff, light pollution, noise pollution, some means of limiting that, but. I think any Act 250 application is gonna. Environmental protection probably. Prevent a fuel there from going in there and not providing spill protection from their fuel tanks, or. Creamery from going in there and not having some sort of. Plan for the average. Yeah, and sewer is really not our item. We could have a covenants. That they need approval to connect to the village of Johnson. Sewer, but they have a sewer connection policy, so they're already covered there. Do we really need a covenants to say? You need to go to the right person and follow their policy.
One example from Barry. Is, talks about uses and complementary uses, and then it says all dwellings or places of human habitation are prohibited. So.
I like that one. I like that one.
So I think maybe we should look at. Some examples of this that are overly restrictive but are in keeping with our goals.
I like the way you worded that. It sounds like we gotta get on. Does our attorney need to draft them?
I would think so. I think you want your town attorney to get involved in something as serious as this.
Thank you, would you look that up, would you come up with that, so.
That's right.
But actually has, how are we gonna handle this? Okay. Can we get together a list of covenants for the next meeting and have a formal request of our town attorney?
Yeah. Oh, I'd be happy to look at that. Sound.
I would be happy to have you happy to look at that.
Well, we have.
Is there anything else with the industrial?
Yes.
Is there anything else with the industrial park, Carl? So I owe you Bongo meeting minutes and things that most recent.
Yes.
I'm not doing that sheet back. I saw something for Grove Cemetery, but wanted to make sure I don't.
Yeah, you can.
Usually, if we don't have it, there's a reason for that. All right, I'm just taking a picture. Sorry, I'm holding the meeting up. Okay. Thank you very much. We can stick around our next one for long. That's our deal.
Thank you, Kyle.
TA and CDS priority list. New order and discussion because the board remembers.
Carl, take the lead on any action, give a whole lecture follow, just to give him direction on the amount of. That you should have some formal direction from the floor if it's going to be a new item.
It's in here.
Okay.
The board likes to give the formal direction.
Something on funding?
How can we make us rich?
So for example, next week I have a phone call with Preservation Trust of Vermont. And we could both be on that call if that would be a good idea. Just start to get some ideas of what kind of funding is available for historic preservation of that building.
You know about the lecture hall?
Yeah.
where it is, I know what the prospect was, or what the proposal was roughly, and why the town might be.
Yeah, we're having a special meeting about it, for voters to decide.
We need to get with Rosemary when she gets back.
Sorry, did I cut you off?
No, just if you'd like, we can make sure we pick a time that works for all of us.
Yep. Okay.
And maybe finding, if you could help us find out what other funding that building could be eligible for. Question from voters on.
Chittenden County Planning Commission is a great page for them. There was some work coming up. Carl was hired to keep the boat afloat. Not sail to England, but he does a really good job, so it's. Doesn't even realize I'm calling him a sailor.
Anything else?
I think that's it for tonight. I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you get a hold of later, I'll be in touch, just try to arrange. Okay.
Great.
Thanks, Carl. Try to get a date for the.
Yeah.
Meeting.
Yeah, thank you very much, Carl. All right, now we're on to TACEDS priorities, new discussion. As the board members, Peter asked to have the priority list in Excel in descending order. I wanted to go in ascending order, but whatever. So I have all 5 board members' scores and all of their comments in the Word document. So that's where that one plays in. You might see that, Adrian has a comment on one item and Paul has a comment on the other. We're gonna have all the scores here in the Excel spreadsheet. Peter, this is our generalized check-in, and we can go through each topic real quick. On seeing if they need to be moved up or down, but we kind of got to agree on a priority list and say these are the priorities.
So I thought the way it broke down in terms of average scores, recognizing that it's not something set in concrete, but generally seems to have some pretty important things toward the top. I just would like under town administrator for there to be a recognition of current conversations around housing, replacing town assets lost in the flood, for example, a post office. And some of these recent opportunities that have come up in conversation with the studio center and other entities in town.
So you want CEDS items melded into TA?
Yeah, I don't think that it hurts to have CEDS involved, for example, in the old town hall. Or housing planning, but I'd like it to be clear that our town administrator also has an important role to play. And I think those are very important things going on in town right now, and
Working collaboratively is great. Who's the owner?
Who's the owner
of on housing planning? We'd be on both lists. Well, we need like one clear direction from the town and one clear point.
Okay.
And they need to work together similarly to like Tom works with Rosemary on budgets and stuff, right? But we have, budget and Tom's side of things.
I would say, given the fact that the town administrator, who shall not be named, yeah, already has relationships with these other organizations and a lot of conversation in the background, I would say the ownership should be there, working collaboratively with the CEDF.
Set.
And we talk
The
about
rest of the board, yeah.
rural electrical or housing or anything of it, what specifically.
I'm trying to grasp it. So exactly.
See topics that were discussed in executive session, so you can't be free to speak about.
Right.
No, he said the election all the time.
So, yeah, rural electric halls now in the public domain, that would be one example. We've been having conversations around efforts to create more housing in town. Without getting into specifics that came up in executive session. Those contacts, relationships in that whole area of conversation, Tom has established very solid relationships and ongoing communication. So it makes sense, I think, for someone, especially an interim, to step in.
Yeah, I think this conversation doesn't fit perfectly for an interim, but. Are we going to have an interim forever? Are we not gonna rehire a CEDS? This is kind of set up for. The road moving forward, our shoes are already wet.
So. Again, I don't see this as setting concrete, and if we have another permanent CEDS, perhaps we shift some things around at that point, but right now, we don't. And this is a real critical time right now.
Yeah, I think what was discussed in the executive session was something that is time critical. So I think bumping up housing, for instance, over to the TA's priority makes sense in this moment in time, even though this is for the future CEDS. So.
Okay, new resident rooms.
So if you're suggesting we do housing and the town hall up to TA.
Yeah.
Keep the ranking, but move them up.
Yes.
I meet regularly with, so after Randall left, I kind of step in for the two things, right? Just to keep, keep things moving. And then there are things that I got that I created organically. I meet with Carl every time he's in the office. We sit down and go over everything and go working on. But Carl and I meet regularly, and I tell him about everything that's happening that I'm working on. So whether he's supporting the point, I think we have pretty solid communication. And then you assign like, I need to do this, or can you help me with that? It's I think. But again, he just the guess is how long are you staying around?
We'll have to talk about that. We haven't got anything that's recruiting him.
Right, I think it makes the name tags that said Carl Rogers.
That ties into I started with Sheldon tonight.
3 years ago as an intro. I'm still there, and one of the members of the personnel committee keeps saying that I've agreed to stay for 5 years, and every time he brings it up, it's a new job. So, which I.
No, your thoughts on this? You want us to find somebody as quick as possible?
You don't have to do it as quick as possible, but if you're not going to. And this is gonna turn into more like, the 8-month kind of thing that Duncan, mentioned when he first talked to me. Then I might wanna talk with Evan or Tom or both of you about scheduling so that I have time to do some things that I have other commitments for. The reason I'm so late is I drove back from our place in Pennsylvania today.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You could have zoomed in.
Oh, I'd like to be here in person, I think.
Yeah.
More effective. So, but I've got obviously the obligations there, so. And it would be better to have longer periods of time there and maybe here instead of running down 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
So I was scheduling, if we could talk about that, if this is gonna be a longer.
Yeah.
period.
Fair enough. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Thank you. We can move those 2 items up. We're gonna try to assign some dates on some of these. Or
Dates for,
like certain items, I guess, are somewhat time sensitive. So, well, it's not set in concrete.
oh,
No, item number 1. For TA is pretty obvious. It's just. Well. It keeps coming in. Developing a plan, working with Rosemary for Rosemary's transition to a new town treasurer. Has anybody here talked about Rosemary's retirement? Because her term, even though she's appointed now, is up in March. And I can't speak for.
To
I think.
July or June.
I think that's about the end of the fiscal year.
I can't speak for her, but even if she's here until the end of June, it sounds really. It is not. As soon as we hit November. We're in cascade period for 3 months. And then there's a new board. Potentially with 3 members in March. And that new board is gonna need to cover all of this ground in 3 months. 3 months and change, and that's ridiculous to ask a new board, so. A year sounds like a lot. I think this needs to be done now.
isn't our study kind of covering that like a little bit?
I mean, is our study gonna say that we need a town clerk treasurer? We're required by statute to have a town clerk be treasurer.
Well, I guess the big question around it though is if we're going to divide from the village
Yeah.
on that.
Could this be a topic on the 27th? I know they talked to me really brief about the idea of like a joint committee of town and village. Coming together to try to work on a transition plan, so that way not one party is leaving the other party behind, but we have an agreed upon transition, whatever that looks like. And I think it's a great idea. I haven't talked to them Dad about what that looks like, or if even the rest of the village board is interested, but maybe the joint meeting. Bringing it up to the village too, because they're in the same boat we are, you know, and just I think having that conversation with them in the open would be helpful to say, hey, we're all in this together.
So I was very good, you had, I'm not talked to anybody about that.
I've only had a brief conversation with BJ.
Okay.
You know, I think just we were talking about other things and it kind of came up, and I think that conversation needs to start. Not only does it need to start on the town side, it needs to start on the village side, or it needs to happen together, but it does, but it's gonna be different for everybody. It's not just the town who's gonna need some transition.
Well, the first thing we should do is get rid of the shared employees in the office.
Yeah, we're specifically talking. The priorities and funding,
Right, I mean, that's one of the things we were talking about. One of the major things is replacing Rosemary.
I think this is saying our conversation, but it's a now thing.
so when do we want something in front of us by? When does the board have to tell Tom what we want?
Because at the very top, I'd say the next meeting.
And we want a plan by December to review.
It would be great if
Just putting out
that's all before the town meeting. I think you're right, timeline's right.
Mhm.
That not having a new board take this on is a really good idea.
So what do you think is realistic in terms of you and Rosemary are accomplishing a transition plan?
Well, we talk about it regularly. In fact, today I even talked to Susan and Lydia. It's. Everybody's thinking about it. And I think having the board now give formal direction to it will empower people to speak freely. I think it's kind of hard to talk about your job when you're afraid your job is going to be taken away. And I think thinking about it from the perspective of the employee is challenging. For that, you have to not know what's happening. And so having those empowering me out loud like you're doing now is a great step one. Rosemary and I do talk about it, and she said she would agree to stay through the fiscal year with a transition period before that. And I think we have gone enough time without a fifth employee that we're not going to go over budget to have that transition time. So I think we're in good standing with that. And I just think the elephant in the room is, are we going to hire a shared treasurer for the town and the village? Or are we going to separate the finances? And that's really the village finances are the most complicated job downstairs. And that's not the village's fault, it's just the regulations that have changed so drastically in the last 10 years, is they have a lot of work on their shoulders for sure. And so then that new position, and so, one of the ideas that we brainstormed was that, yes, we separate employees for cleanness, so you have 2 town people, 2 village people with an MOU that has overlap to cover the phones, to enter payments, like the simple basic tasks. But yet there are 2 village employees, 2 town employees, very low impact rearranging. And that way everybody can kind of cover everyone's bases and everyone feels secure in a position. And every job gets done. But it's just like those conversations I think are afraid to be had out loud. And empowering it now is good. But it really should. I honestly think some of that, the workload, we're talking about it as if we know what they have to do. We have no idea. I don't have any idea. I'm in there every day. As I think coming from their perspective up on what the best solution, at least hearing it is valuable. On what they think it could be. But it's going to be different for both town and village.
So was that I don't know to Peter's question? I think Peter was asking, when do you think? Well, do you provide a plan? And I understand that there's a whole bag in, we don't know. And if the answer is I don't know, that's fine. If the answer is we need to empower you and Rosemary to talk to each other. I believe we're empowering that.
And I think in the village 5 to have this conversation about their employees is just as important. But from the joint meeting, empowering people from the village and the town to come up with a viable solution that does not increase costs, that does not cause us to hire extra people, and gets everything done in the same manner, I think is the most, and simplify what's happening. But I think we need village buy-in and town buy-in, and that's so if we get that on August 27th, I think we could have a plan in 2 months or less. And I think
2 months.
after those
On August 27th.
we don't next numbers.
November 1.
After those right?
It's November 1.
Yeah, I think we could come with a proposal to then build off of, absolutely.
Highway capital plan. When do you think that's?
So this is just an improvement of the existing one, just today.
No. Update the current plan, leaving the rotation. As is, including cost of extended warranties, propose a new plan based on leasing, which is something you brought up in the past. And propose a new plan on sequencing purchases with warranty periods, which you've proposed in the past.
Yeah.
So it's 3 plans. Or really the cost, you only have to get once, it's just.
One plan with a benefit cost analysis for both. For all.
3 separate plans for the board to decide what they want to go with. We'll definitely need that for sure by December. I mean, really, that it's huge budgeting planning wise, but we don't necessarily need to enter that into the budget right off.
In the past, I had created a lease plan with a notation for the guaranteed buyback. So when we work with International, they had a guaranteed buyback price, which is a trade-in we're talking about. And then it's in their best interest to give you this truck as soon as possible, because they buy it back at a higher rate. So they'll order the truck, they need to order the truck, and replace it for you, because it's in their interest. They have to pay you for it to work, and they have to sell it at a profit. So going into a lease cycle with the build times might be the right thing to do. It is expensive to get out of, so those are things that I really would talk about how do we.
December 1,
Yeah,
that's reasonable.
yeah, it's gonna be really hard to talk about it. It's like,
Oh, wow, no, we're looking for some time, we're not even gonna have time to keep going, capital budget and plan.
I'm not doing that. I think we need a grant. That's a big one. I think I can knock that out about. I mean, it's not that bad. Doing it's just, it's like 20 years old now.
Yeah, the response is funny, I don't think that the board actually expected you to do it yourself, but to just say I'm not doing that's handy.
Should to Carl to find a grant for it?
Well,
Yeah, I believe the board that said work with LCPC or the planning commission to identify grants.
Oh,
like municipal planning grant just came out, I emailed it, and I think I wrote in the bottom of the email, we should use this for the capital plan. And the
I
reason.
think you're empowered to do that.
Yeah, the reason we haven't done it is because we needed the town plan designation. We were, it was delayed beyond fiscal year, I think, or something, there was some delay that we couldn't apply right away.
Paving capital planning budget. What do you think time frame on that?
I can do it myself. Think I would like,
I think that would be so.
it'd be great if one board member could come with me, with Jason, all three of us in the truck. Just drive around, which then just kind of help develop the worst of it. You know, because I feel like in my conversations, the target keeps moving. And it would be great to have a group of 3 instead of 2, I think, to help identify.
I hear you, I guess I don't understand it. I think board members, asphalt experts here, which I don't know about. I think the state of Vermont V-Trans will assist, and they have like a program. Or and they have a paving capital plan you can build off from.
Sure. Okay.
You could build one yourself with Jason's input for sure, but if a board member wants to ride around, great. I am not an asphalt expert.
That's not what I'm asking for. I need support with working with Jason on developing this. So can a board member just come with me and develop and help support me in creating this plan, working together?
Jason doesn't want to work on it?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just asking for support.
So what you're trying to get at is list,
Correct.
not really the capital plan or budget, which is prior to this for paving.
That's right. Because when we think about paving, we used to think about whole roads. And it's no longer viable to do whole roads the same way. They used to treat the whole road the entire way. But it wasn't effective, it wasn't efficient cost wise. So now you can do the worst first and get it up to a stage where then you can do a shim and overlay over the worst that you just did. So that way the whole road gets done at a much lower cost rather than milling and paving the whole thing, because a lot of times roads don't need to be milled and paved, so they don't need to be tore up and have that work done. But we often used to think about doing the whole road with just this way, because yeah, it's bad right here, so you do the whole road to the worst standard. But I think when you attack it from road segments, the same way you do the MRGP in road segments for hydraulically connected segments, now your paving plan, you can isolate your expensive costs to small areas, and that's where you need support with creating the priority list. And then from there, you then create a whole road, right? But I think you're spending the money where you need it, and then you're doing just what doesn't need it. You're not spending the high dollar rate.
That's something Jason can do?
I would imagine better than the state probably knows more about paving than anybody does.
Absolutely.
I think V-Trans will come and assist and maybe send a.
Okay, I'll have them, but it's not, don't get off.
Send a, what is that, seismograph? Yeah.
Okay, it's not,
I'm happy with that.
You said, by when, Tom?
well,
Okay. How do you think we'll go through the rest of this?
Well, I don't think we should put dates on all of them, maybe just.
No, those are just the budgeting ones. Really,
Okay.
winter maintenance policy, I don't think it's realistic to have that done for this winter. Just because it's gonna take us a while to review it and change it. Believe it or not, winter's like right there, but I don't have any good feels about that.
When do we to start working on the budget?
Changes in November for sure, sometimes look like October first draft.
and I start compiling already, and eventually you look at it, but you, usually by 7/1, you have an idea of what your next. Where you landed, how far you are, once Rosemary closes out the year, that's like the moment you start.
She said she'd probably have a year of finals, year-end finals for first meeting in September.
So we started in October.
I guess it kind of depends. You think we started the last meeting in October probably? Just a quick pause or something.
Usually like I'll come in with like the stuff that's cost of doing business is filled in with like the big questions to start thinking about, but no real decisions by then.
Okay.
So that one's November 1st? The budget?
Yeah, well, I guess
That's kind of just ongoing.
I'm going to, yeah.
Good. And then for the pay, so. For the paving capital plan, we didn't put a date, right?
12/1 is what I wrote down.
Okay.
I mean, it's gonna be the same, it's not gonna affect our budget, we're putting in 110,000 a year. It's just how much paving can you do? And then does that 110 need to go up or down? But it's a single line item in the budget.
Yeah, I think. Since I've been on the board, everybody said, well, you're on the budget for asphalt, and I said, there's no facts and figures, I know we're under budget. By how much, we need this tool that says here's our 5-year. Plan on expenditures or 10. This is what asphalt costs per ton, this is what milling costs per. Cubic yard, square yard, however they do it,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what an inflation rate is. We could use that to actually budget and hit our targets.
Speaking of which, I haven't been on Hotback lately, but wasn't that recently repaid, or was that just the Cambridge half?
It was a long time ago.
No, when they were doing all the construction in the spring, Hotback was a great way to go, to get around all that, and the paving was great. Is our half,
We were considering paving it this fall, but it's been delayed.
okay, because I saw the paving yesterday, like 280 grand in here.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, that's not, that's just Wilson Road and it's supposed to go up to the transfer station.
I thought I saw.
we'll go over that when we hit it.
And,
When we hit, but
we're not there yet?
not there yet.
Come on.
Does anybody see other ones that are?
Are any of these time sensitive, where we should consider moving them up or anything?
I mean, I think later in the agenda, we're gonna talk about winter maintenance policy possibility.
Mm-hmm.
There's the development for the budget process and get away from the estimated surplus. That probably needs to happen with the Rosemary transition and. To me, it's a pretty straightforward answer, it's just not one you guys like it.
Super painful tax wise.
That wasn't over a couple of years, right? I mean, they have over 1 year, it's a big impact.
Yeah,
I think you could do it over 2, but I think it'd be wonky, right?
I think the town made. One year the town got a huge buck because they budgeted for the first time, the budget and estimated surplus. And so that was like, you rather go down the game. And then now, however many years later, that revenue is gonna be taken away. And so it's gonna be acted on a known number, which comes at as the year gets ready to close.
After the fact.
Right, and another way to. When we talking about trying to push our audit data for some things that we had an audited number, but the reason that they did the estimated surplus wasn't. In a miraculous fund show up, it's that they had audits every 2 years, so they had to estimate their surplus. Every other year, and then they have an audited one on the next year's, and for some reason, I don't know why we got away from every other year audits. But now that we don't have auditors, we're required to have a yearly audit anyways.
It just happens after the fact, so that's why that's why we have to like skip a year to get the number right.
To get a real surplus instead of estimating.
And so that 1 year, you're gonna right now budget anywhere from 100 to 200,000. And there's gonna be 1 year where you're gonna raise taxes by 100 to 200,000 because you're not gonna include. And unfortunately, it's probably should be before the new treasurer starts. It would be, well. It would be a hard position to put them in, just to.
So we know a lot of things falling on December 1st. Could we maybe have like some draft / like check-ins before then, so not everything piles on you at like once?
Well, a lot of these are gonna take time. I mean,
Okay.
if I do a report, it's only gonna take time away.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I just didn't want it to all fall on you at once, like. Maybe like Rosemary transitioning, we could have like a draft check-in, like in our second October meeting or something. Before November, I don't know, just.
if anything, I'd like to push that on out, yeah, that's the budget, if anything, that should go to like, late, And that relies entirely on the village cooperation. But all of these things kind of happen throughout the year anyways, like as problems come up, you learn about a new issue. With a pothole that, they keep that in cold patch and it pounds out, so then it has to. Be addressed, like Railroad Street, for instance, and so, and all of a sudden you have like. Areas of road that are being pushed to a higher priority, and so. The idea, the concept for a paving plan is like ever changing throughout the year, so just having a. Formalized 1 by 12/1, I don't think whether it's that big of a deal to have them all fall. It's like a growing document. So it's really just forming a spreadsheet, putting it on, but the numbers within it are gonna change every week,
I'm wondering if we can. Think about the rest of this between meetings. And also think about whether there's anything on this list. That maybe members of the board. Could take on. For example, I'm looking at the cemetery maintenance plan, they're gonna need maintenance. So we can't push that off, for 5 years.
That brings up another topic. We put out a cemetery RFP, we only got one response. Duncan reached out to somebody he used to use and they were not interested in putting in a response. And we just accept the one plan we have to get that maintenance done that we budgeted for this fall, so we lose it.
But on the next meeting, plan purchases.
Well, it would be an RFP review award, which would be
Perfect.
okay.
Yeah. Anyway, that jumped out at me. I don't know if there's anything else that. We all might be able to work on, because I realized there were some things that look. Kind of like, kind of small and easy to knock off, perhaps.
Union contract negotiations gotta be upcoming soon.
That's small, easy to knock off.
Yeah, it was pre-negotiation recommendations and preparations, so that is kind of coming right up.
Schedule that again, regulating contracts.
They've already been in contact with their.
Yeah, I was waiting for them to propose a date, and I even got a hold of our attorney to help us through the whole last.
It's a big deal, right? Just give them a council increase.
Well, they already get one every year.
Right, well, then what's the negotiation over?
I don't have a clue. We haven't been-
The deal is that. The cost of living should be better than negotiation. It shouldn't be an automatic thing every single year. Every union contract I was with, so you just didn't get an automatic increase. You had to go into negotiate an increase. They got a very good deal here, though.
It's not bad. Do you have other things you want to talk about, Peter? I feel like we're spinning our wheels here. I don't know what the board wants to take.
What I'm suggesting is that we'll leave this for now.
Okay.
Take a look at it between meetings, see if there's, stuff that we'll talk next time, but maybe board members could take on. And also think about, what do we think about some of the timing? I mean, we've got a full plate of things, due in November, December.
Who's gonna be on the board negotiating team?
You appointed Adrian and myself.
Well, we've been on how we do this.
Fair enough. So Peter's request is that the board review and see if there's anything
I mean, I think
else that we want to take on.
I would do though, so I think the top 6. We talked about dates and everything for, so I think those could be locked in, and then
Yeah.
the rest is fine to figure other plans out for. Yep.
I'm good with that.
But someone will point out.
Yeah, I mean, the capital budget and plan. I mean, there's a reason it has been done for 20 years, it's a big job. I think Berlin just put it out to bid, another town just put it out to bid. If your Carl work with Ron going to be the right one, and they've written several as a consultants. I think we should look at the municipal planning grant and consider maybe even talking to Carl about what's the best path forward, or if we have any templates or something, but as far as myself writing it, it's kind of over the head if it gets fair.
Yeah, I don't think the board was asking you to write that. Like I said earlier, I think it said,
It's not any better.
work with LCPC or the PC.
But as far as grounding, go.
I think LCPC did it last one, didn't they? With the planning commission.
Capital plan?
Yeah. Before.
Pretty high.
It'll just be finding the grant. And getting the process started.
Yeah, and just let us know when you wanna add one of these items to an agenda, like before a certain date, so
Absolutely.
it's moving.
Do we want to move on and bring this up at our next meeting instead of our next planning meeting?
Yes.
I don't know if I have anything more to add next meeting, but happy for it to be there. Yes.
Financial management policy. Those are really easy, I can give you guys drafts in 2 weeks, where you can adopt 5 policies, you have to. Stuff on everything.
So which one?
Financial management policies.
Policy, would be like item number 7 or something.
Yeah, and they're all model policies from VLCT. When I was teaching, I think it took a few weeks, so we were able to Thompson. And it could be the general policy, it's not hard. I'm not sure how much of that you want to be done by Rosemary. It's kind of an interesting thing where they have to agree to do the work that you're telling them they have to do. But at the same time, it's kind of like the fox in the hen house where they're created to prevent fraud. But you actually want them, so it's whatever that, right? Like you're telling Rosemary to do the work, it might come resistance. But also giving too much leeway to Rosemary is the whole reason you have the policies in the first place. But we should definitely have those in place and approved before a new treasurer starts, so that it's just.
Okay, if that's an easy hanging fruit one, maybe you could do that for the next meeting or one after.
Those guys can be here till July. Those aren't on there because of Rosemary, they're on there because of our transition. Sure, if they're rolling and both.
And it were left over, I think, from, we had to push some. Financial policies through really quickly to the library room.
So is that our planning meeting in September? That's a month, not 2 weeks.
Yeah, 9/15, is that date?
Okay.
Okay. Everyone on?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should, we're already an hour behind.
I know, we're setting out like. Really good. Tom read this one, higher labor and resident expectations.
So this one is a request, based on, I think, the last meeting and got pushed to this meeting. But it's, so Jason kind of hinted at it a little bit, but just. Road crew with being now a foreman and crew is, just a little concerned about their on-call is designed around having 5 people with no part-timer. Which means that none of them are gonna have any on weekends that are off-call, which is gonna increase our costs and gonna increase overtime. But if we could get a seasonal employee, that would be, A, there's no benefits, there's no retirement. And B, and C, it would free up that on-call pay that now instead of paying all of them on call, one of them would be off. So it actually, that would help us out a little bit, and it would give them a weekend off on the cycle. I think it's 1 month, or I'm not really sure. I'm not familiar, but. So, was the board like to keep the foreman person, or would they like to have hire a 5th person, or would they like to hire a seasonal employee? Or another option is a winter maintenance policy that just says anything under 1 inch of snow or 2 inches of snow doesn't get paved until working the next working day. And that way it's like a public information campaign to say, okay, Johnson, unless if there's only 1.5 inches of snow, if we're not coming out on Sunday, we'll do it Monday morning for the school buses, but you have to let residents know that there's a change so that there's not a flood of complaints. So there's a bunch of options for you guys to solve here. But just, we need to do something quickly, or at least let the road crew know what you're expecting. And it's a change, it's a different, they've had 5 guys for a while. And they need to know how to change. What do you want? And it doesn't matter, but I think that expectation needs to be clear.
Well, plowing the road with 1 inch of snow and sanding is ridiculous anyway.
Well, I was gonna say, I think the idea of having a winter maintenance policy is good no matter what. You know, if we have 4 guys seasonal, you know, we still need to have a policy that, you know, when it's enough snow, too much snow, you know.
Yeah.
So, high level question, is the board cool with testing out the job description for the part-time employee?
I have no problem with a part-time employee. I just don't want to hire a full-timer.
Yeah.
Paul? Adrian Peter?
The board previously just discussed the 5th employee as a full-time employee, is that correct?
Seems like a lot of the conversation's been heavily centered around that, yes.
I'm kind of curious the way this keeps coming up. It seems like the board already decided no 5th employee is now.
Keeps coming up because we need it,
It keeps coming up.
and there's no plan for not having one.
I think that's it, just being very blunt, I don't mean any, this is not an opinion, this is just an observation. It's a decision to go to 4 people happen with an already budgeted year and plan summer of work for 5 people. And so there hasn't been a decision not to hire, and there hasn't been a decision to hire, that's part of the staffing study, it's just been delayed. And so because of that, now there's all these projects that the 4 people who are there feel like they're behind, and committees and other groups that might have relied on the 5th person feel like they're behind. But the reality is it might just be the new normal. And I think that expectation needs to be made to everybody, because that's why it keeps coming up, right? Plans were made with 5 people, and yet plans haven't been altered for people. And I think we're getting there, and this conversation is just that. If it's 4 people, you either need to tell residents the roads aren't gonna be kept up as well. Or you need to hire a seasonal person so the road will be kept up as well. You know, and it doesn't matter what the answer is, but I think these problems keep coming up, there's nobody who was ready for it. And so now you're like solving them as they come up in real time.
I think that one of the big problems was that we went from the road to public works. And we had 5 employees because basically the 5th employee was hired because of his gravel pit. Safety issue with that. We no longer do that like we did before. And like on because it seemed like with the word public works, for every committee in town, they felt as if these public works crew was at their beckoning house. And so because of that, they got used to every time they hollered, the road crew, the public works group job. Well, it's things that slow down now because we have run roads. And so like Tom touched on that certain committees and stuff, those that they're being left behind, and because we have 4 employees on the outside now, the crew thinks they're falling behind because they didn't get the jobs done that they wanted to get done. But I don't believe we need a 5th employee for another $110,000 to pay a benefit. I think we could get by with a seasonal employee, which is no benefits. There's wages and hourly worker.
Another thing in previous conversations. The word public works is interpreted differently. But a traditional public works, like you go to Burlington DPW, Montpelier DPW, what do?
Right.
Water, sewer, and sidewalks. We have none of those. The expression got changed from public works, they got to do a great job. But the public perception was more than just like I'm available for everybody's hopes and dreams, and while supporting committees is important, it is coming at a financial burden that with all the buyout properties happening and everything will escalate.
The other piece of previous conversation is the staffing study. And you know, we could hear back from our consultant. So gee, you know, you folks really should have 5 employees, and here's why. But in the meantime, you know, we have this situation.
Well, the staffing study, like some of the quote says they'd be done in 40 hours. So we could know in like a week.
I don't know. That person's a dollar.
Yeah.
Soon.
40 hours was gonna be
I know.
crammed into 1 week.
I know, but I'm saying like we could know soon, and I don't think we can make this decision right now. We could wait till the staffing study to make a more educated decision.
Okay, I think you guys have heard my opinion. Dusting off part-time employee job description, I do respect Adrian's opinion on waiting for a staffing study to use it as more of a facts and figures.
If we accept the
If we go down that road, yeah, we might reject it later.
staffing study before this item, because the staffing study tonight.
I think we are,
Just some clarity.
I am concerned about a clock ticking, and I don't think it would occur to dust off the part-time employee job description and be able to look at it.
okay, you're a dust off, I'm a dust off. Not post, dust it off, get it back to the road, right? Are you not post? Not post, dust it off, get it back to the road first in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
Fine with that.
alright, clear direction, Tom?
That's great.
I think that was a part-time employee, not a seasonal employee. I think they're used seasonally, but I think the job description was part-time.
I guess the question is, do you want to make it X number of hours a week or per diem? You know, per diem when it snows, or do you want it to be?
Find the old one.
I don't know what's typical,
Dust it off and put it in front of
what's
us.
typical.
I would rather have an employee as needed.
Per diem, I think it's not better if it's that's.
That's how it's not a point. Yeah, I know.
Alright,
I know what we're doing.
next up, paving. RFP review and award. I guess this is technically the bid opening, but we only have one bid. And the bid was for clarity to the public. In our packet, and I am frantically trying to find it. So the finalized bid, it's this one, right? It says. Yeah. Was from Pike Industries Inc. And that amount is $14,465.50 for cold cleaning. Of 4,133 SY, I'm assuming square yards instead of cubic yards, which is weird. And $269,139.75 for 3,333 tons of machine paving hot mix asphalt. And the project, Jason called me because he wanted me to inform the world what the project was. So that's the bid opening. Okay, we reviewed all bid submissions. The project is planing Wilson Road asphalt up to the end of the asphalt, and then they're gonna build up gravel that they have, or plant mix that they have stored for all the Wilson Road down to the bridge, and then Wilson Road out to the Hyde Park line, and then Spitzer Hill up to the Hyde Park line. Build it up and then put the sub base and 200 overlay on it.
Okay, that's more than the RFP says. First of all, the RFP does have an odd back in it, which I'm not sure why, but RFP just says Wilson Road. See his transfer station.
Yeah, I think it isn't it?
Yeah, that part got the line.
That got bigger and how back got removed.
Hogback is removed because of a potential legal matter.
Yeah, okay.
So the proposal was to increase the spending to the Hyde Park lots on Wilson Road and Spitzer Hill. The thought process behind Spitzer Hill and the rest of Wilson Road was it's excessive on needing gradient and chloride. This will reduce chloride, it'll increase our salt needs, but there's kind of
Just a little bit of possibility to the right.
take a right up that hill, to the town, yeah, where there's walk grading. And Wilson Road is to the. It's not crazy far past the transfer station where the town line is.
And that's what it costs.
What would I like to do?
What do we spend on annual maintenance on this?
Not enough. Too much.
Gravel, the grading at the hills, Spitzer Hill to the transfer station, about every 2 weeks, pretty significant. So this will save a lot of time driving over there with that maintenance.
So. Give or take, unless you have an actual figure column, I'm just gonna say that there's what, 20, 30 weeks that they do it, so there's 15 weeks. And it takes 3 hours a whack. I don't know. These are spitball numbers, so there's 45 hours and that grader's worth 200 and something an hour. On the FEMA map, or the FEMA, whatever.
Worth. Be honest, right?
Yeah, but if you were to get reimbursed by FEMA. That's the only thing you really know why. Because we've got an employee that costs. An aggregate.
Right, just kind of like the new.
It's about $9,000 to $10,000 in maintenance a year, Paul.
So let's see who good. So let's spend 280,000.
Yeah, that's a good way. It would alleviate a lot of complaints and. I. Believe we have the money for it, but I'm just one member.
I'd like to make a motion.
That's for the pregnant pause.
That.
The contract to Pike Industries for $283,605.25.
Is that an amount not to exceed?
Not to exceed.
Was a motion on the floor, is there a second?
I'll second it so we can discuss.
All right. There's a good chance they'll either exceed that
I
or.
don't know that about paving costs, just a reasonable cost for that distance.
I did talk to somebody in the paving industry and they told me. Generalized prices, and it seems like these prices are pretty fair.
Pretty fair.
And generally speaking, Mike, I would love to see more than one bid all the time, but we just keep running into this problem.
Can I say, like, Jason did try to solicit more bids?
Yeah,
It's just nobody else submitted one.
yeah.
It's not. And while we're talking about the bids, there's some state site that we should, this was quick turnaround with all procurement policy. I'm not blaming anybody. It's we ran into cheap asphalt and we had the money and it happens. There's some state construction site that's tough.
That's what I do for all
bid.
That's what I did for the library project, that's what I did for the municipal block, Assembly Lane, all $3 that are really competitive. That's right now, we had 11 people show up for Assembly Lane Armory. I mean, it's.
Well, my hope is if we had a future board had a capital paving plan and said, yeah, we're gonna need to do roughly 5,000 tons or whatever. It's not gonna be perfect. It's gonna give you a good darn estimate because you know what roads need to be done, you know their width, you know their length, you know what needs to be done. You could budget the best you can, but you can put out a bid in the spring when prices are a little bit less because they're hungrier for work. And save the taxpayers in the long run.
So what I was trying to get more bids, do you get any feedback? Is this too small a job?
There was somebody else that came and met with them,
Hutchins, but then we recently sold out to, I forget,
Tri-State,
Allstate.
Allstate,
Yeah,
insurance company. Actually, no, that's true.
that's it, I was at, so somebody came and walked the property, like, basically gave a tour to, and then. That phone call was disconnected, there was no contact, Jason reached out again today, I was. We had a conversation to be like, hey, we need more than that, what's going on, and he called. See if they would submit something, that's when we found out it was sold.
I'm concerned one bid's in violation of the purchase policy and I can never support it.
This was a sealed bid process, but. There's a motion of seconds. Does anyone else want to talk about it there?
I'm just concerned, it's so much money, but only one bid, I'm just concerned. It's the right decision or not.
They're planning to go away with spring.
I think at this point, it's close now to go back out to bid would delay. So we're beyond, the paving season has to be at a certain temperature, daytime temperature. I think if you don't accept this, just plan on the spring, I think that's okay, you know, let's know this. Let's not delay this 2 weeks to then try to get more bids, let's just. Either that or wait for spring.
We did talk to Rosemary, and we do have the funds for this, right?
And anything we don't spend of that 110,000 goes right into the reserve anyway, so it doesn't matter whether we do it now or next.
Yes, it does, you know, just because we have the money, doesn't mean we have to spend it. We're not being good stewards of the town's money if we just take one bid. Wait till spring for crying out loud. Start treating this money like it's your own, which it is.
We're talking to.
Yeah, well,
No, something.
This is what the chair says, any further discussion?
Any further discussion?
Can I just say something?
Sure, should be muted, but I guess nobody else is here.
When you put a limit on not to exceed the budget when you're paving, you better have some leeway because there's variations in the gradings and stuff like that where you might not get as far as you want. And if you're 2 truckloads from getting to where you want, but you're going to be over budget, you really should have a contingency in there for being able to complete as far as you want to go. Because you just don't want to be so close to the end, but be like, well, we voted to only spend this much money. In a perfect world, laying asphalt goes in a everything's perfect, but grading has to be right on. Everything has to be right on to hit those numbers.
Thanks, Bill. Jason's got a maintenance line.
Is there any input is it fine to wait till spring? It will do us any harm?
The rain will be there in the spring, as far as I know.
Will it affect flooding or anything like that, or?
No, I don't think it will.
Just watch where you when you drive across it.
Okay.
I am curious to know how this is gonna go. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, yeah.
Only because I made the motion that.
Signify by saying nay.
Very.
All right, and the nays have it.
I am.
I didn't really hear from the board that they were anti-doing asphalt. It sounded more like they wanted to go out to bid in the spring. Do you want me to let Jason make the decision, or would you like to? Okay. I'd like an RFP out in the spring. I believe. There's problem. Paul voted against his second. Joint property MOU.
I'll be withdrawing my motion.
Really?
Yeah.
Matt Kenning's done that. Well, he's voted against himself.
Yeah.
Joint property MOU. In your packet, you said there would be something potentially, is there?
Does it in a room here?
Is it in there?
Right applicant.
Thanks, you just. Is this an updated MOU or the current?
What's the current one? I have not had a chance to add the details about what we wanted to update as far as its intentions, but
When the hot water goes south.
that's right.
Yeah.
And so this is the current one, and I think while we can move right on, but I guess really all I'm asking to do is just make clarity on maintenance of, I'm just like.
Sorry, more details.
Yeah, it's only gonna be like a 1 paragraph addition unless you guys want to make further changes in that.
Yeah, I think you said it for the joint meeting and just say if we want any changes.
Deal. Yeah, so we're moving on.
I
Okay,
didn't see the discussion that, so. I haven't had the village. When they decide.
They decided to wait until after January and we'll find out more about how much money they might get from FEMA. They don't want to go ahead and do work with us, there's some possibility that this building's not going well.
Okay.
Yeah, USDA, Eric, myself and. I think they're gonna meet.
it's Justin's road one thing.
Well, it's on again, on again, this building.
Well, I think, this is a pretty
Yes.
wild, I feel like they would have, if there's an opportunity to do something.
George numbers.
I think people know the thing to make sure they lost it all out.
So I have to.
It's on again, off.
Right before staffing, so.
Okay, are we ready for the next item? Next up is road renaming, so Justin has a request. Hang on, I gotta find it. to approve the name of Woodsman Lane, which is off of Cotting Hollow. It has 3 small houses that exist on one driveway as well as Hidden Barrel. 3012 Upper French Hill, which has 2 additional lots that will be developed in 3 dwellings total. The Johnson Historic Society has approved these names, and we need to motion to confirm it.
I'll move to approve the following names of private roads: Woodsman Lane and Hidden Bear Hollow Drive.
Second. Motion is second. Any further discussion?
I'd like woodsman to be changed to woods person. Just kidding.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Anything on Mike specifically?
Yeah.
Okay, next up is the staffing study RFP. This, we've kind of bumped back and forth, put out the proposals. Tom sent in his packet, and this is my mistake. I thought there was 3 responses. There was 2. There was a company in California that was interested.
Yeah.
Super early on, but they didn't actually get a proposal. Was it Fix Industries or something? Yeah, so I provided all information for Tom and that's my fault. So what we have here is 2 proposals. One is from Maple Hollow Consulting, which is Carrie Johnson. She has a cover letter. She's been in municipal government for a long time, working as a consultant. She proposes 12 hours at select board meetings, staffing interviews for 12 hours, research analysis and final report. There's 16 hours at a billable rate of $100 an hour for a total not to exceed price of $4,000. The other person who submitted a proposal was from Rethink Mobile. Very, very professional proposal. And that proposal was for project costs for $12,000, proposing a $3,000 per month flat rate fee. So I guess first question is if we want to continue with staffing. So second, can someone make the motion to go with one of the 2 companies that we're talking about? And that's fine.
No motion until we talk about whether we're going forward.
Sure, yeah.
I think we should go forward.
I agree. The rest of the way good.
Go for it.
Agree. Okay.
So therefore, I would like to move that we award the staffing study to Maple Hollow Consulting, Carrie Johnson.
I'll second.
Motion a second. Is there further discussion?
The reason for that is because of her extensive experience in municipal government in Vermont. You know, she gets it.
She comes very, very highly regarded.
Yes, she does. And I agree.
So we're on further discussion. I don't know if she needs to be sent the VLCT town's benefit reports. That'd be for last year, which we don't have our employees in, but is the board comfortable if she receives that? If she doesn't have it already. The VLCT pay and benefits report.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. All those opposed? And the ayes have it. Next up. Is the opioid settlement. I think I'm gonna let you remove this one here for this.
Yes, Cam sent this out a while back. But we have to let them know by October 8th. If we'd like to opt in. On my email that Tom kind of just says, what it's about in the funding opportunities. The actions required to receive funds is that we need to opt in by signing and returning the participation document that will in the next few weeks. If you don't return the paperwork, the town will be included in these settlements. The deadline is October 8th. Tom is suggesting contacting the state of Vermont to ask that there will be state level support, for example, guidance on paperwork, legal review, pool distribution plans. So I guess I'm just looking for tonight for us to opt in and for Tom to do what he suggested.
And if we opt in, do we have to make the decision when we opt in of where any potential funding goes? There's the option of it just going into the state settlement or coming to the town and the town being able to award it to, for example, Healthy Memorial Valley.
Jennifer Thomas.
Jennifer Thomas.
It has to be used for prevention and rehabilitation, is that correct?
Yeah.
There's like specific, it can't just go into the general fund, it has to be used for a specific purpose.
Well, I will tell you, it's kind of a tragedy anyway, because really, if we go to where it's affected and the families are getting a very small percentage out of the billions of dollars that are up for grabs here. And it's really disgusting when you get right into them. If you don't put in for it, you can't get any of the dregs that's left over. And can be used kind of for something, but not really.
Yeah, we can make the decision now.
Come to the next meeting with a motion or your motion or what formal process do we need to edit?
We just do inserting obligation on or what's your opinion to.
We just opt in by returning the participation documentation.
Was that administered anything?
I don't think
I think that, no, I don't, I think it's just like saying we're in favor of receiving funding, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm opting in for the settlement.
Yeah.
And I think I was trying to find it today, like over the weekend, I read one email said this is not the same as the other settlement. So I think there's actually two happening
Oh,
side by side.
Well, the other settlement was Purdue Pharma.
Okay, but I think we should opt in to both. If they're being managed by the same overseeing company, I think there's two separate ones. One I sent a long time ago, and one I sent maybe a month ago. But I think we should, I guess what I'm asking for is direction to opt in and then allow me to, reach out to the state, just kind of give a directive, and from hey, like, look, you're acting this.
Maybe the company that's managing it is one that's siphoning off most major shares of the.
Probably, yeah.
Opt in and give the state all the money and all the liabilities. I like it. Do you need a formal motion? I don't know.
I think just like.
It's general consensus of the board to opt in, so we're very clear on this.
opt in.
Not doing it.
Okay, and then if you need much further request on where to send the funds.
I think you'll come up again, but let's just move the call real quick.
All right, perfect. Anything under old business? No, we covered additions. So at this point, I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session for attorney-client communications. Made for the purpose of providing professional legal service to the body as allowed by 1 VSA 313A1F.
So, Mr. Chairman.
Is this a two-part motion?
By
No.
No. The purpose of providing those. I can say. Oh, that's not all this. And then invite somebody.
yeah, and they have attended
Yeah.
part of the.
Inviting the town administrator to.
And
So,
board.
who seconded it?
I think I did. Okay, I put it on.
Okay, and we put up, made the motion, wait a second.
I thought I made it in call second with. But you guys want to put something different.
So, yeah, I do, made a lot of nice to my. Yeah, and all of us that were, you know, all signify by saying aye. So, the ayes have it, the bills enter executive session at 10:16. See,